senior members of the Big Red Band. At this time, if you could direct your attention to the Boyers End Zone, where we will begin our ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we would like to recognize the 2023-2024 senior members of the Mount Carmel area Big Red Band and their parents. All right, starting off our first senior, Sugar Bolam. Sugar is a member of the Color Guard. She is a flag and rifle captain, and she is the band historian. She has been in the band for 5 years. She is escorted by her parents, Barrett and April Bolam. Amaya Bobrowski. Amaya is a member of the Color Guard and has been in the band for 6 years. She is escorted by her parents, Bernadette and Ronald Bobrowski. Dylan Connell. Dylan is drum major and plays clarinet in the Big Red and pep bands. He plays clarinet in symphonic band, saxophone and jazz band, and he is the band secretary. He has been in the band for 6 years, and he is escorted by his mother, Kimberly Williams, and his grandparents, Peggy Connell and Beverly Yoder. Caleb Gensimer. Caleb plays bass guitar and is the pit section leader in the Big Red Band. He also plays bass guitar in symphonic and pep bands, and he has been in the band for 6 years. He is escorted by his parents, Beth and Greg Gensimer. Dean Hess. Dean is a member of the mallet percussion section in the Big Red Band, and he has been in the band for 1 year. He is escorted by his sister, Alicia Hillenbrand. Rebecca Morales. Rebecca is the mellophone section leader in the Big Red Band and pep bands. She plays French horn in the symphonic band, trumpet and jazz band, and she is a band librarian and soloist in this year's show. She has been in the band for 5 years. She is a member of the vocal trio that sings the Star-Spangled Banner at every home football game, and she is escorted by her parents, Edward and Melissa Morales, along with her brother, Zachary Hunter. Seth Reinl. Seth plays trumpet in the Big Red, symphonic and jazz bands, and he is the trumpet section leader. He has been in the band for 6 years. He is escorted by his parents, Keith Reinl and Charlene Ennis. Noah Rempel. Noah plays trombone in the Big Red Symphonic and Jazz Bands. He is the low brass section leader and soloist in this year's show. He has been in the band for 6 years. He is escorted by his parents, Sean and Rachel Rempel. Adrienne Rodriguez. Adrienne is the drum major of the Big Red and Pep Bands. She plays bass, clarinet, and symphonic band, and she has been in the band for 3 years. She is the band treasurer and rifle captain, and she is a member of the vocal trio that sings the Star Spangled Banner at every home football game. She is escorted by her sister, Victoria Rodriguez, and her father, Jesus Rodriguez. Neve Rodriguez. Neve plays saxophone in Big Red and symphonic bands, and she has been in the band for 1 year. She is escorted by Edna Villafane. Finn Slavinsky. Finn is a member of the color guard in the Big Red Band and has been in the band for 5 years. He is a rifle captain and is escorted by Linda Haas and Kiana Slavinsky. Broderick Strickland. Broderick plays tuba in the Big Red Band, baritone in symphonic and jazz band, and has been in the band for 3 years. He is a band librarian and is escorted by his mother, Shannon Slate, and brother, William Strickland. Dominic Tamborelli. Dominic is a member of the percussion section in the Big Red Band and symphonic bands. He also plays drum set and jazz band. He is the band president and drumline section leader, and he has been in the band for 6 years. He is a member of the vocal trio that sings the Star Spangled Banner at home football games, and he is escorted by his pop-pup, Louis Chernesky. Jacob Taylor. Jacob is a member of the percussion section in Big Red, Symphonic, and Pep Bands. He is the band vice president and has been in the band for 6 years. He is escorted by his parents, Shannon Hicks and Jared Taylor. Natalie Vizo. Natalie is a member of the mallet percussion section of the Big Red Band, and she has been in the band for 6 years. She is escorted by her parents, Tracy and Daniel Dweeb. Kira Wisłowski. Kira plays bass guitar in the Big Red, Symphonic, Pep, and Jazz bands, and she is a band librarian. She has been in the band for 2 years, and she is escorted by her father, Dennis Wisłowski. Last but certainly not least, we have Gage Wise. Gage is a member of the percussion section in the Big Red Band, Symphonic, and Pep bands, and has been in the band for 6 years. He is escorted by his mother, Lisa Dillo, and his grandmother, Diane Hutko. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2023-2024 senior members and parents of the Mount Carmel Area High School Big Red Band. As we get set up, a few bits of information about our upcoming show. This year's show features the music from iconic movie scores, Huey Lewis and the News, and the Tommy Dorsey Band. We open our show with Adventure Films, a piece originally written for the U.S. Air Force Band. Next, we will feature a medley from Huey Lewis and the News, featuring the tunes Power of Love and Heart of Rock and Roll. The show will then close with Tommy Dorsey's jazz classic Sing Sing Sing, featuring the drum section and senior soloist Noah Rempel, senior soloist Rebecca Morales, and Eli Rempel. The band is led on the field by drum majors, senior Dylan Connell and senior Adrienne Rodriguez. Color guard captains are senior Sugar Ballin and Fallon Hakobian. We would like to thank Brett Getty, Matt Steller, the MCA School Board Administration, and especially the MCA band parents for their continued invaluable support. The band would like to recognize the late Paul Proximichek, legendary MCA Mounties director who wrote the brass and woodwind arrangements for portions of our show. And now we invite you to sit back and enjoy the 2023 edition of the Mount Carmel Area High School Big Red Band.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Jazz Dimmick Field at the Silver Bowl. Tonight, the Red Tornadoes continue their 131st year of football, hosting Hughesville in a Heartland Conference Division III game on Band Senior Night. The Mount Carmel Area School District would like to extend a warm welcome to the Spartan football team, parents, and fans. We now ask that everyone please rise and direct your attention to the scoreboard end zone of the Silver Bowl, where our colors are prepared for tonight's game. Our national anthem this evening will feature MCA senior vocalists Rebecca Morales, Dominic Tamborelli, and Adrienne Rodriguez. The Big Red Band will then follow with the Mount Carmel area alma mater.
Hello and happy Friday to all of you out there, wherever you are and whenever you may be watching. Tonight's WKMC TV broadcast is sponsored by VFW Post 2110 and features and is a Pennsylvania Heartland Athletic Conference Division III matchup featuring the visiting Hughesville Spartans and your Mount Carmel area Red Tornadoes. Hello everybody, I'm Jim Lesko. Alongside me is my brother Dan Lesko. Jose Gonzalo supports us from the sideline, and together the three of us are coming to you live from Jazz Dimmick Field at the Silver Ball in Mount Carmel, Pennsylvania on the first Friday in October. Now on the field tonight we have the Spartans and the Red Tornadoes. Just one game separates the two in the standings. The Red Tornadoes sitting at 4-2. The Spartans come in at 3-3. One thing they do share in common is both teams' most recent loss came to the hands of the Milton Black Panthers.
Yeah.
The difference being the Spartans just fell last week, and the Red Tornadoes loss was a few weeks back, 3 to be exact, and all they've done in the last 2 is go gangbusters offensively.
Yeah.
Putting up 120 points in 2 weeks, Dan. So what do you think we're going to see tonight? Speaking of fireworks, you heard them in the background.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, as the Red Tornadoes are taking the field here, Jim, I think we're going to see, more of the same from Coach Dara and the Red Tornado offense. They've had such a good mix of run and pass over the last few weeks. Again, last week they went again. Spears was 10 of 17 for 106, 3 touchdowns. Marshalik also 7 of 8 for 74 and a touchdown. And you had Blessing rush for over 150 and 2 touchdowns. Diaz had 5 catches for just shy of 80 yards and a touchdown. Schultz had a touchdown last week. I think that's kind of the recipe. Spears, Blessing, Schultz, Diaz. I mean, Schultz and Diaz are the guys you're going to see in the passing game, while Blessing's going to be the one sending it out there to him, and you're going to have Blessing doing his thing in the backfield. I think one thing that we haven't, we always try to touch on it quickly, but with how quick the Red Tornado offense moves, we don't really get a chance to highlight it. Blessing can't have 7 carries for 158 yards without a little help from that beef up front.
Yeah, that's offensively and defensively.
Yeah.
Because while we've given the Red Tornado offense their flowers, especially over the last couple weeks, we were just talking about it before we came on air. The Red Tornado defense, while it's been stellar the last 2 weeks, pitching a shutout at Midwest,
right?
They've been really just over the top, really since the North School game.
Yeah, 100%.
Haven't given up many points. We saw again that front 4. They can get after the quarterback. They eat up blockers. You have Maddox Reed leading the team in tackles with 52 from that linebacker position. That's largely, again, because those big bodies up front eat those blockers. And then on the back end.
Yeah.
So, again, let's be honest. Being a defensive back is a little bit easier when your defensive line gets after the quarterback the way they do,
right.
To the tune of 11 sacks last week in Midwest.
Wow.
But it's not there's no shortage of talent in that defensive backfield either. As you know, you've got Morganti, who's been in and rotated in and out, committed a reserve role. He's got 3 interceptions.
Yeah.
Kimsel's got a sack to go with his 2 interceptions.
Yep.
So it's been really positive on both sides of the ball for the Red Tornadoes for a while now.
Well, absolutely, Jim. We talked about it. As you see, you talk about that pass rush that we had last week, and you see Belichick out there after having a stellar. That's Matt Belichick, number 2, after having a stellar game defensively last week. At 2 sacks, 3 total tackles last week. He got the call for the game captain tonight. And that offensive line there that I talked about that's kind of been leading Blessing to the promised land is left to right. Jagger Delaney, Seth Spears, Logan Erb, Maddox Lamas, and Noah Shimko. So as you talked about giving out flowers, those guys got to get their flowers.
And so as the teams meet at midfield for the coin toss, as Dan mentioned, tonight's game captain for the Red Tornadoes will be number 2, Matthew Belichick. Otherwise, you'll see Schultz, 15, Spears, 11, and Reed out there as usual. The guys in white tonight, the Hughesville Spartans, their captains out there. Number 1, Aiden Bartlett. Number 2, Tyler Wetzel. Number 5, Angelo Ferrigno. And number 77, Jacob Flowers. The Spartans did win the toss, and they deferred to the second half, so the Red Tornadoes will take the football. And the Spartans will be defending the north end zone, or as we've started to call it around here, the end zone where the fireworks go off.
Yeah, or the scoreboard end zone.
Fireworks is more fun.
Yeah, that's true. But, speaking of fireworks, we're getting ready to see some fireworks here. We just talked about how potent that Red Tornado offense has been, and we're going to get to see them take the field first here tonight. But, you mentioned that Milton coming in, Hughesville coming in at 3-3 after their tough loss to Milton last week. They only lost 28-6. We got to see firsthand kind of how good that Milton defense is, that Milton offense is, that Milton team all around. So seeing that Hughesville only gave up 28 to that tough Milton offense, makes me think this is going to be a pretty tough game here for the Red Tornado offense to get going. But they'd like to get started quickly here on the first drive.
Yeah, and as we see the Red Tornadoes will return the kicks first, it's a good time to – we talked about Diaz a little bit.
Yeah.
Again, Diaz had had a punt return for a touchdown last week. That marked the 3rd time this season that the Red Tornadoes have had a kick return for a touchdown. Now, again, you might remember they had a punt by Morganti and a kickoff by Diaz. Excuse me, reverse that.
Yeah.
Reverse that, right? The week before versus Bloomsburg. So that's the most kicks returned for touchdown that they've had since 2009.
Wow.
Where they had 3 as well. Again, all these stats are always courtesy of Jose. We appreciate everything. And the interesting thing there, Dan, what do you think the most ever is for return kicks in a single season?
In a single season?
Here at Mount Carmel.
5. I'd say 5.
Well, I'll tell you, in the year that this happened, 1976, Bobby Zavaric had 6 himself.
All right, so let's double that. Say 10?
9.
9. All right, close enough.
That's crazy.
I mean,
you
play 10, that's one per game every regular season game. Yeah, that's pretty impressive numbers.
Number 16, Keegan Smith will kick off for the Spartans. It'll be a good kick. It'll be in the direction of Kimsel. He's going to take it at about the 14-yard line. He's going to work his way back to the middle where he's got some red jerseys. He's got a little bit of an alley. He's going to be stuck by 11 Connor Knight, but there are multiple flags on the return in all kind of different directions. There's 2 around the ball, 1 well away from the ball.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even see. I saw the ones near the ball here. I didn't even see the ones back here. So, be some sorting out here to do here for the head
I
referee.
think the head referee didn't realize there was another one.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He was getting ready to make his proclamation based on the...
Yeah, he threw one of those ones,
Right.
so...
Wait and see, it's going to be hold against the Red Tornadoes on the return.
I guess that's it, though.
Maybe the official
That
out here,
other one
maybe he
just
saw
didn't make it.
Right.
It didn't make it there. It would be a long way to throw that one.
So now it was from the 25. They walked that off, so not quite close enough to be a half the distance penalty. So it'll go all the way back to the 15. Not the best field position for the Red Tornadoes to get started with.
No.
But nevertheless, they're going to come out open. Tate Adams to the top of your screen there. And it'll be Schultz and Diaz to the field side. Diaz comes in motion. Spears is going to keep this one himself, and he's going to be hit and dropped in the middle. By number 30, Luke Stutzman.
Stutzman's second leading tackler on the team here, so you're going to hear that name pretty often. Just only 4 tackles behind Fisher, the middle linebacker there, number 33.
We're going to get an illegal motion, a false start here against the Red Tornadoes. And as on the first play, we saw the Red Tornadoes bring Diaz in motion. Spears kept it himself, but Diaz is the kind of player that keeps a lot of teams up at night, but especially these Spartans. Went back and looked. The Red Tornadoes and the Spartans matched up twice last season.
Yeah.
Once in the regular season and once in district playoffs. And in those 2 games, Diaz had a combined 265 yards and 4 touchdowns.
Pretty impressive numbers. Yeah, that's somebody that if I'm Coach Rainey, I'm kind of planning to kind of try to slow him down.
We got the big Angelo Ferrigno in his general direction at this point, but it's going to be 2nd and 11, and it'll be Blessing up the middle, and he'll be upended. Looks like that's going to be Stutzman as well.
Yeah, yes it is.
So it'll be 3rd and about 7 here for the Red Tornadoes. Red Tornadoes are going to look to the sideline, try to get the right play in. Still plenty of time on the play clock. There's a shell coverage over top of Diaz and Schultz. And the ball sail high. Had Schultz open. Fall incomplete, 4th down.
Yeah, that's a tough one there for the Red Tornadoes. So this, drive kind of got off to a rocky start right away with the penalty on the kickoff, and then you have the illegal motion that kind of moves you backwards, and you get into a third and medium, 3rd and long situation. It's tough to do that. I mean, when the defense can kind of scheme and they know you've got to kind of put the ball in the air.
Cricky will do the punting for the Red Tornadoes. He's averaging about 35 yards a punt, and this is going to be a low one, but he should get a nice roll. He's going to kind of continue, and it'll be downed by Schultz at the 46-yard line. So with 10:15 remaining in the first quarter, it'll be 1st and 10 Spartans from the 46.
Yeah, it's a good starting field position here for the Spartans, Jim. And you know, you don't like to talk about it, but this is one of those games where if you're on the Red Tornado sideline, you don't want to get caught looking ahead. You don't want to get caught looking ahead. Everybody knows what looms next week. Who's going to be coming here to the Silver Bowl next week? The Southern Columbia Tigers, #1 in District 4 right now, probably very highly ranked in the state of PA in AA. So you don't want to get caught looking ahead. You got to play the opponent on the field.
Wetzel's first pass is good tonight. Pick up about 7 on a quick screen. A good blocking setup by the receivers.
And you're going to see that pretty often. I mean, you talked about the 11 sacks that the Red Tornado defense had last week. You're going to see Wetzel be trying to get the ball out of his hands quickly, and Coach Rainey dials a good play call up there for the first play of the drive.
Wetzel will be in the shotgun with Frigno. Looks like it's Knight and Barlett to the right. And it's going to be Frigno this time off the left side. He's going to be tackled by Miller, but not before picking up a Spartan first down.
Yeah, you know, we talked about it, Jim. This is a very well balanced Hughesville team. Sorry, we've got. I mean, Wetzel's put the ball in the air 112 times. Ferrigno has carried the ball 90 times coming into tonight. So it's a good mixture of run and pass, and they're able to do both pretty successfully.
And they're going to pick up a free 5. Here's the Red Tornadoes jumped. And Dan, we talked about it a little bit at the outset. We were talking about that defensive backfield. What we didn't reference, perhaps I should have, was with #1, Chase Belichick on the sideline this week.
Yeah.
Morganti is getting the start at the safety position again, certainly well earned.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's earned his spot in there. You're right.
And he'll be joined in that defensive backfield by Kimzel, Lukoski, and Delaney. Now Wetzel's going to throw. Now he's going to run. And a nice job there, everybody. Shimko will get the tackle. We're going to get a super late flag.
Very late.
Reed, really Maddox Reed did a nice job there of staying home.
Yeah.
It's a personal foul, face mask against the Red Tornado. So we'll check the replay
here.
Yeah,
we'll take a look here and see.
I'm not sure that I saw it there.
Yeah, because normally for the personal foul, the 15-yard penalty, you have to see a pretty visible yank. So that's a tough one there for the Big Red and their defense. It's another Hughesville first down.
And that is, I'm not great at this, Dan, but that would be, 4 penalties against the Red Tornadoes in just over 3 minutes of gameplay.
Yeah.
Not exactly the start Coach Dara was looking for, but Wetzel's going to go up top. And it's intercepted by Delaney. No, they're going to say it's incomplete. Wetzel's pass went over his intended target, and Delaney made a heck of a play.
I thought there was nobody near that ball, and then Delaney came up with it.
Look at this slow-mo. This is phenomenal.
It is phenomenal.
I mean, he caught that football.
Yeah, he absolutely secured that. That's a tough one. Tough one for the Red Tornado defense.
What a great replay. I mean, we've upgraded. We're not just getting replay anymore.
Right.
It's slow motion. WKMC TV is a premier broadcaster. And Wetzel's going to flip it out tonight again, but the Red Tornadoes do a good job of converging on that. Schultz, Morganti, Karicki, and Delaney all get up off the bottom of the pile, and it's going to be 3rd and 7.
Yeah, and again, I mean, this is the way the Red Tornadoes have to answer. You know, you put now you put the Spartans in a pretty heavy pass situation here. You know, you can kind of, but being in the red zone, the Spartans being in the red zone, they're not opting to go with their defensive back package. They're going to keep Noah Shimko in there at nose tackle. No change.
Wetzel's looking in one direction. He's looking for Anstadt. And it's incomplete. Nice job by Lukoski.
Very well defended. Very well defended by Lukoski there. He was with Anstadt all the way. And with the personnel change here, I think Hughesville is going to kick this.
Yep. So we're going to have Keegan Smith come out. Now be careful here, because number 14, Trent Wetzel, is the holder, and I think we saw him throwing the football around a little bit, Dan, in early time.
Yeah, we definitely did.
But they are going to kick it. It is no good. Going to be left and a little bit low, so despite some mistakes and errors by that Red Tornado defense, they bend but do not break and turn the Spartans away with no points on the board, and it'll be 1st and 10 Mount Carmel at, oddly enough, the 15, just where their first drive started.
Yeah, and that's a big series there for the Big Red to hold. They did a really good job.
Actually, they hadn't moved the sticks yet. It's going to be, still waiting. I think it's going to be about the 19.
Yeah.
Oh, right on the 20. Okay. There we go. Now we're set up. And the Red Tornadoes will opt to go tight here. The shotgun double wing. It's going to be Spears to Diaz, and there goes that man. He's still on his feet. And there's no flags behind him. 85 yards. 80 yards.
And wow, that was quick, Jim. That was very quick. And that's, you know, that's what you like to see from the Red Tornadoes. You get the big stop by your defense, you come back out, and it's usually a good time for a shot play, right? Anytime you hand the ball to Xavier Diaz, that's a shot play because he's got the ability to go 80 yards, you know, stepping through the shoestring tackles. What a great run and a great answer by the Red Tornado offense after their 3 and out on their first drive.
That's a beautiful case of your defense sparking your offense.
Yes, 100%.
It's a good snap, it's a good hold, and Shoppy's kick is good. 7:42 left in the first quarter, 7-0, Red Tornadoes. Dan, when we talked about Diaz, talked about kind of what he'd done against Hughesville in the past.
Yeah.
And if you remember when Diaz burst on the scene as a sophomore 2 years ago,
yep,
one thing that we were kind of tracking, I think, as the season went on, was he was averaging something bonkers, like 17 yards a touch.
I think it was in the 17 range,
which seems unbelievable. And there's all kinds of stuff you'd attributed that to.
Right.
And then Jose sent some information this week. Before that carry,
yeah,
he was at 16 and a half this season.
That's unbelievable.
It's wild, and that doesn't.
And he hasn't carried the ball a
average.
whole lot this season. He's got such big play capability. It's very impressive.
Yeah, he's got, coming in tonight, he had 27 rushes and 22 receptions. So that's not even 50. So that would have been his 50th touch of the season.
Yeah, yeah.
50 touches and an 80-yard run when the Red Tornadoes needed it. So Kricki will kick off. He'll be taken at the 21 by Knight. And he's going to be met.
I think that was
Keegan Brown, I think, initially. Yeah, 27, yeah. Keegan Brown. And then Miller, Kricki, and others will get in there on the stop. Cooper Kricki, that is.
So now we'll see that Red Tornado defense again. You know, you mentioned a little penalty plague there on that last drive. Hoping to put the offense in a little bit of a better position. Getting the ball back here, maybe get a stop.
So 3 receivers to the right. It's Bartlett, Finnegan, and Knight. Bartlett comes in motion. They're going to hand it to Ferrigno off the right side, and he's going to run right into Kricki, who does a nice job of keeping the edge.
Yeah, Kricki and Schultz. Schultz kind of just threw a shoulder in there as Kricki had him wrapped up. Ferrigno took a good shot.
I think the Red Tornadoes are fortunate enough that they get contributions from everybody, but we talk about Kricki all the time, and I think it speaks to how big of a role he's played. We don't often talk about the fact that he's a freshman.
Oh, right. Yeah, we definitely, you're right about that. I mean, you're going to see that guy for the next 3 years.
Wetzel the throw, and they'll flip it out to Bartlett. But too many red jerseys over there. Schultz does a good job of beating his blocker to make the tackle, and Miller came over to help finish him off.
Yeah, really good job there by the Red Tornado defense on 1st and 2nd down. And now we see that personnel change with Shimko coming out, Lukoski checking in. As you see, Diaz is in at corner on this drive. Sulukowski checking in to be kind of that slot corner.
So it'll be 3rd and 8. The ball's right around the 38-yard line.
Watch for the Red Tornadoes to dial up some pressure. You see everybody up on the line.
And here it comes. Wetzel's under pressure. He's going to flip it out there. And he's got Bartlett for a 1st down. He went up and got it in front of the defender. It's good coverage from the Red Tornadoes, but a nice ball, a nice way of attacking it.
And you know what, Jim? They credit to the Hughesville offensive line. They gave Wetzel just enough time to get that ball out and deliver an accurate throw to Bartlett.
Yeah, and that offensive line is going to go left to right. Lunger, Whipple, Burkhart, Walker.
Dwyer,
sorry, I missed Dwyer.
Yeah.
And Wetzel to throw it again, and it's going to be complete. And that was to Angstad.
A good tackle over there by Belichick. Sorry, I think that's Delaney.
Belichick is over there, though. Belichick's the end on that side.
You're right, yeah. Delaney's got his jersey bunched up. It looked like a 2.
2nd and 4 after the completion.
Really good job by Delaney driving on the football there.
Wetzel to throw again over the middle. And he was looking for Bartlett. It was a little bit high. Good coverage by Morganti.
Yeah, Morganti did a great job coming from that free safety position, kind of getting up underneath Bartlett there and separating him from the football.
Morganti's a junior, and a little bit of a menace out there these last couple weeks.
He has been, Jim. He's gotten his opportunity to shine over the last few weeks, and he's taken full advantage of it. From what I hear, he's also a menace on the baseball field as well.
Ferrigno takes the handoff, and it's Karicki's going to stop him initially. Shimko will finish him off. But we'll see now what the Spartans are going to do here. It looks like they're going to punt.
Does appear that way.
See Keegan Smith again. Red Tornadoes switch their personnel. Kimsel and Diaz will be back deep.
Yeah, it looks like Hughesville ready to go here.
It's a high snap, but a good job by Smith getting that out of there. Now Diaz is going to think about it. Oh, and he's going to lose it. And he tried to pick it up, struggled with it a little bit, and the Spartans, too many white jerseys were there, so the Spartans will retain possession on the fumbled punt. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 14.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate break there for the Red Tornadoes. So, you know, you go from the last couple weeks of the away games playing on turf, you get very true bounces playing on the turf. Midwest last week, every bounce seemed like you could kind of predict where it was going to go just by the way the ball hit the turf. Here at the Silver Bowl in this beautiful natural grass, not always the case. And unfortunately, it took a bad bounce there on Diaz. He wasn't able to get his hands on it. And, I mean, huge turn here for the Spartans.
Come out in the I formation for the first time tonight. It's going to be handoff to Ferrigno. And Schultz is going to tackle Ferrigno by going through the lead blocker.
Yeah. Schultz just stood up the fullback, the first man through there, and knocked him into Ferrigno. I mean, that's something you really want to. You're going to pressure the coach, make sure that gets on your highlight reel.
And we've talked so much about Schultz from an offensive standpoint and what he brings. You know, I think you've called to him Spears' Travis Kelce and all these other things. But my goodness, he is a force on that in that defensive end spot as well. He does his job. He stays home. As the Spartans will get down inside 10. That was Stutzman that time.
Yeah,
somewhere between the 8 and the 9, Dan.
Yeah, it's a nice little carry for Stutzman there. Gets us to about a 3rd and medium for the Spartans. But yeah, you mentioned Schultz. You don't always get your tackles doing your job as a defensive end or an outside linebacker. But when your linebackers are the leading tacklers and your defensive line guys, that means that you're doing your job out there. So you kind of take solace knowing that. You may not have the numbers on the stat sheet, but you know you're doing your job.
Wetzel to throw. He's looking right across the middle. He's got Bartlett. That's Wetzel's sixth touchdown of the season. All 6 have gone to Bartlett.
Yeah.
And it's 7-6 Red Tornadoes here. 2:47 left in the first, and the PAT pending.
Yeah, and you know how we mentioned, Schultz as Spears is Travis Kelce. It seems like Bartlett is Wetzel's that's his safe space. When in doubt, find number 1, and that time Wetzel does it, and he finds him open over the middle for 6.
And Farley's kick is up and good. So we'll knot it up at 7 here at the Silver Bowl in this Pennsylvania Heartland Athletic Conference Division III contest. It's sponsored by VFW Post 2110.
And again, now we'll get a chance to see that Red Tornado offense come out and answer. I mean, it is an explosive offense. We saw how quickly they could put points on the board. So they're going to have a chance here right from this kick return. Diaz may have an opportunity to kind of redeem himself after the slight error that kind of gave the ball back there to the Spartans.
So we'll see if the Red Tornadoes have any specific kind of return set up here, though. I think sometimes at the high school level it's a little difficult just because you don't always know where the kick's going to go.
Right. And it does appear sometimes, at least you can kind of see sometimes the way the ball's angled, that the teams are going to kind of try to kick away from Diaz.
That is going to be a high kick. The Red Tornadoes might just let it go, but it's going to die inbounds. So Kimsel has to pick it up. He does a nice job of picking it up cleanly and getting whatever he can out of it out to around the 28-yard line.
Yeah, real nice job there from Kimsel, doing what he could and putting the Red Tornadoes in pretty good position here to start their next drive.
Well, considering their first 2 drives both start at the I think the 15 and the 20, right?
Yeah.
So we're moving in the right direction here. But after the success of the first touchdown run, the Red Tornadoes will stay tight. And this is going to be up to the up man. That's Bailey. But a nice job there by the Spartans to try to see exactly who that was on the bottom. 70.
Ferrigno rolling off. Looks like
Stutzman
Stutzman
yeah.
again.
My goodness. Got in there very quickly, but speaking of very quickly, the Red Tornadoes back on the ball again.
Yeah.
2nd and 7. Blessing goes in motion, but it's back to that man, number 10, who spins out of the first tackle. He's going to go down after a short gain, as there were a lot of white jerseys there.
Yeah, he wasn't able to, we talk about it all the time. Diaz is usually able to make that first, sometimes that second guy miss, kind of without much effort, but that spin move that spun him right into the waiting arms of some Spartans.
Now, 3rd and 3. Call it 4 for Spears. And he's going to hand it to Blessing. Blessing's going to have the first down. Out across the, he needed to get to 39. He's well over the 40, about the 42. So a nice job there of keeping this drive moving.
Yeah, that's a good job by Blessing, too, kind of just realizing what he had to do. It looked like he wanted to try to step out of that one tackle, but he got down. He knew he had enough for the first down. He got down. Let's get back up on the ball and run another play here.
Spears is going to throw now, and he's going to have Diaz, but he looks, and Schultz goes up and gets it. My goodness, that's going to be a gain of about 9 into heavy traffic. Schultz had to go up and get that football.
Yeah, but he did. He went up and he got it. He pulled that one down almost out of the hands of Bartlett there in the defensive backfield. So really good job by Schultz. And staying on his feet, too, is impressive.
They're going to hand it to Diaz, and he's going to take a shot in the middle, but he'll have a first down. That one looks like it was going to be number 54. Bryce Burkhart was the first one to get a hold of him, and Ferrigno finished it off. But on that completion to Schultz, and you're never upset with a 9-yard completion, I got excited because it looked like Diaz was about to split the defenders down the seam.
Yeah.
1st and 10, 42 seconds and counting in the first quarter. And it's Blessing off the right side. And he's got some space. He's got Jurgens in front of him. And Blessing is going to take it 45 yards. 13-7 Red Tornadoes.
And again, Jim, you know, we talked about the explosiveness of Diaz, but there's the explosiveness of Blessing. And he's kind of developed, at least this year we've noticed, that's an extra gear, it seems like. You know, we knew he had the power and the strength to kind of step through tackles, break tacklers, but it was always Diaz was the guy that's going to outrun everybody. But once Blessing gets in open field and sees the goal line in front of him, it looks like he hits that third gear and he turns it on. Nobody's going to catch him.
Choppy on for his second PAT of the night, and this one is up and also good. 14-7 Red Tornadoes. Dan, while we're here at the Silver Bowl and we're enjoying our night, one thing we always want to talk about is the Red Tornado Brick Project. Now, if you've been listening, you've been watching, you know order forms would have been due last week, but never fear, there's always another one coming around. We'll get more time around those dates, exactly where that's going. But again, in the south end zone where the creature bleachers used to be is the Red Tornado Legacy Brick Project. There's the big 6x6 foot water jet tornado there. It's surrounded by the 12x12 blocks, and then the more traditional 4x6 bricks. You can get those for yourself. You can get them engraved for yourself, for your loved ones. Go Big Red, class of 2013, like Dan. You can do whatever you choose there. And if you want one of those, you're interested, you want to head out to redtornadofootball.com. Scroll down on the right side of the page, you'll see the link in the order form. Again, orders were due October 1, so you have to wait for the next go-round, but we're always looking for those orders, so get them in so you don't forget about it. All right, so Cricky's going to kick. It looks like it's Bartlett and Knight back deep again for the Spartans. Good end-over-end kick by Crick. He's going to be taken right at the 20 by Knight. He's going to try to get upfield. He's going to be sandwiched in between, and Lukoski's trying to take that football away from him. He almost did. It'll be Lukoski and Belichick on the stop.
And Jim, that is the definition of tackling the football for Lukoski. And you know, he almost took the football away, so we wanted to talk about that. But great job by Lukoski. Yeah. Compressing his edge. He's the gunner. He's the guy on the outside there. He compressed that edge, forced the returner back inside, and right into the waiting arms of another Red Tornado defender.
4 wide set from the Spartans. Wetzel to throw. He goes straight back, and he's going to fling it out to Bartlett. Just a little high. It'll fall incomplete, 2nd and 10. Just a tick under 20 seconds left in the first quarter.
And he had to put that one a little high because Schultz was in that underneath area, and he had to get it over Schultz's head. So, I mean, Schultz kind of altered that throw out there in coverage. So good job by him. Just getting out to his zone. Sometimes it's as simple as that. You do your job, and good things happen.
I know we always, when we talk about air yards, it's usually how far the ball travels vertically, but that flew a long way.
Yeah, it did.
Across the field. And Ferrigno's now got some space, and he's still on his feet in the Red Tornado territory. It's going to be a nice gain down to about the 45-yard line. It'll be somewhere right around 19, 20-yard gain.
And Jim, Ferrigno had a lot of white jerseys out in front of him. That was kind of a student body left play. And I mean, credit to Ferrigno just following his blockers and finding the seam and getting upfield.
And that's going to be the end of the first quarter. I was waiting to see if the Spartans were going to try to get a play off, but they're content. After 12 minutes here, it's 14-7 Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, really good job there by the Red Tornadoes. In the first quarter, the offense looked. After that first drive, the offense looked fantastic. I mean, you know, moving the ball pretty well. A couple big plays, turning into points. But defensively, defensively the team's playing well as well. Really, the only score was off of the Red Tornado turnover, which set the Spartans up in great field position there to get that completion to Bartlett for their lone score there in the first quarter. But that's, you know, this isn't a team that you could take lightly. This is one of those teams where they're going to capitalize on mistakes that you make. So you got to try to play mistake-free football throughout the rest of this game.
Well, yeah, we talked about the Spartans being 3-3. They had kind of a weird loss at Warrior Run by a touchdown earlier in the season, but otherwise, the other two losses are to Milton and Loyalsock. So certainly,
Yeah, two very tough teams.
Right. This Spartan team is able to hang with most, and you're seeing that firsthand tonight. Wetzel takes the snap, and he's going to roll to his right. He's under pressure. He throws it across his body.
Oh.
Incomplete. Schultz had a beat on it, but it will fall incomplete. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, and that's a tough one there. It's dangerous for Wetzel there. Roll, it's always dangerous for a quarterback. If you're rolling one way and you decide to throw back towards the middle of the field, you'll hear guys talk about that a lot. That's you don't really want to. You want to throw the ball out in front of you. You don't want to be throwing across your body. And thankfully for Wetzel, that one just fell incomplete.
A bunch formation to the right, and it's going to be Ferrigno running that way, and he's going to put his head down, but there's a lot of red jerseys there. We'll see Widener's in there. It looks like Reed and Shimko are going to get up off the bottom of that pile after a gain of maybe 2.
Yeah, you saw the bunch formation out there, but it didn't appear that Ferrigno got there. It seemed like he kind of went more inside of a 4 or a 6 hole run when maybe he wanted to get it out there towards that bunch formation a little bit more outside the tackles there. But good job by the Red Tornado defense not allowing him to get there.
So after the big run by Ferrigno, the Spartans have had an incomplete pass and a 2-yard gain. So it's 3rd and 8, and Wetzel to throw. And he's under pressure, and it's going to be Widener. Schultz will finish it off, but it's all Widener coming from the backside to sling him down. For a big loss, it'll be a punting situation.
And yeah, and that's a huge sack there by Widener on a big 3rd down play. You don't want to give the momentum back here to the Spartans. So we'll see. But the Spartans come out and they're right up on the ball. I mean, not really giving the Red Tornadoes a chance to set up a return.
It's Widener have 4.5 sacks on the season now. Now Diaz is going to take this one on a hop. He's going to try to get the edge, and my goodness, the only one that can stop him. Did he stay in bounds? He's still on his feet.
That's a great return by Diaz again.
And what's unfortunate there, if you're the Spartans, is the way you have him hemmed in. You say, okay, he's not going to get the edge. We have the angle.
Right.
And he just outruns the angle. He's too fast.
He outran the angle, and then the little hesitation move, as you can see here with just a little hesitation. He makes a guy miss, and then comes back out inside, outside, and the shoestring tackle keeps him out of the end zone.
Nevertheless, great field position for the Red Tornadoes. The ball's at the 23-yard line. Diaz will motion into the backfield, and Spears is going to keep it himself. Going to get down to around the 15, call it the 16. It'll be a gain of about 8.
That's a good little run there, and something kind of a different wrinkle. We haven't seen usually when we see Diaz going in motion, he's coming in like a float motion around Spears, or he's going through motion. He's going across the formation. This time he just motions into the backfield and sets up there for a little play action move for that read option.
This time it's Blessing. Good job there by the Spartans of stacking them up after a short gain. But Dan, to your point before, imagine being a linebacker, looking into the Red Tornadoes backfield, and trying to figure out if it's Blessing, Spears, or Diaz that has the football.
That's tough. Those are 3 pretty dangerous weapons to have in your offensive backfield all at once.
Kind of have to pick your poison to some extent of, well, I'm gonna key on this guy. And
it's like baseball, Sometimes you want to sit on fastball,
And now Spears will throw out to Diaz, and he'll have the first down. So a nice play design there to get the ball in the hands of a playmaker, pick up a first down inside the 10. It'll be 1st and goal from probably right at the 9.
Nice completion there from Spears to Diaz. Didn't need much there. Got the 2, 3, 4 yards they needed for the first down.
Spears to throw again. It's a quick out to Schultz. Does Schultz get the ball extended? No.
Oh, man.
Smart play there by Schultz. He knew he didn't have the room, so he tried to outreach. Let's see here what's the replay say. I'll be honest, Bartlett's kind of in the way.
Yeah, but it did look like he got it over the pylon.
So now it'll be Blessing up the middle for his second touchdown of the night. 20-7 Red Tornadoes.
And that's another good drive there from the Red Tornadoes. They didn't need much, set up by the tremendous punt return from Diaz, and finished off by Blessing. That's a battery that we we talk about a lot with this Red Tornado offense.
And the kick is blocked. So it'll stay 20-7. Nice job there. 54, Bryce Burkhart come through with the block. So it'll stay 20-7 with 8:42 left in the first half here at the Silver Bowl.
And Jim, I got to say, credit to Burkhart on that one, because it looked like he took that one right in the chest or the stomach. I mean, I wouldn't have the wherewithal to hop on that football afterwards after taking a full-blown kick right to the chest. But credit to him, and he just hustled right off the field. You know, good play by Burkhart.
So as we stand here, again, just looking at this beautiful night, looking at these beautiful images and the fantastic production support that we get from WKMC TV, we also want to make sure we thank our sponsor, VFW Post 2110, near and dear to both of our hearts, Dan, right? Playing baseball for the VFW growing up here.
Yep.
Part of the Mount Carmel Area Junior Baseball League. I think got a lot of trophies.
A lot of trophies.
A lot of trophies.
There were some good baseball teams which produced some good athletes, and a lot of them played right here on this gridiron.
Cricky's kick a little bit shorter that time. We taken at about the 30 and brought up to around the 40. I think that was that Fisher? I think it was 33.
Yes,
Fisher.
it was.
Yep.
I think that's where the baseball references are coming from today, Jim. Just a little bit of nostalgia with the VFW.
Well, in Hughesville, right? A lot of battles.
Yeah. Hughesville had a good baseball team back when I played. They always had that green monster in left field, I remember. That was always my aiming point. Strike out 3 times and hit a home run over that. That's usually my go-to when I played against Hughesville.
Wetzel under pressure again. He steps up in the pocket. He's still looking to throw. He's going to set his feet and float it for Bartlett. It's a great ball, but it's out of bounds.
Yeah. I mean, a fantastic catch by Bartlett, but really good job by the Red Tornado defense, just using that sideline as an extra defender and being able to kind of force him out on that play.
Yeah, I mean, that goes down in the books as an incompletion, but that's a really nice play by Wetzel to avoid the rush, step up in the pocket. He's moving to his left. He kind of flips his shoulders to get him square and throws a dot.
Yeah. And as always, you can't forget about the catch by Bartlett. You can't forget about the catch. He's got to reel that one in. He wasn't able to keep his feet in bounds because there was just great defense by the Red Tornadoes. But he caught that ball.
2nd and 10, Wetzel to throw again. He's got Ferrigno, and Ferrigno's going to be hit from the front and the back by Morganti and Delaney, but he hangs on to the football for a big gain down to the 41-yard line of the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, and this is a situation here, Jim. You know, still early in this half. I mean, we're not even 4 minutes into this quarter, and the Red Tornadoes, they need a turnover. The Spartans are putting the ball in the air a lot, and you know we talk about it a lot. There's anytime you put the ball in the air, 3 things can happen, and 2 of them are bad.
Now an empty backfield. Wetzel under pressure immediately, steps up, avoids the rush, and he flicks it out there. It's incomplete, but again, a great effort by Wetzel to only have that play result in an incompletion.
Yeah, because that could have been a huge loss. I mean, he was 8 yards deep in the backfield when the first pressure got to him, and he got it out.
Schultz had hands on him for a second. He was able to avoid it. Belichick had hands on him at the end, and all the while Widener was in hot pursuit as well. So
Yeah.
had a lot of red jerseys in his face.
That's the danger when you go with an empty backfield, though. I mean, you get 5 guys out in the pattern, but sometimes it's, you need that extra protection in the backfield as they go empty again here.
Yeah, Coach Rainey says, I like my odds here.
Yeah.
I'm going to get a flag. I'm going to
The timeout.
wave the flag off. Oh, all right. So was it perhaps a delay of game flag?
Yeah.
But mitigated by the Spartan timeout. But it's Friday night here at the Silver Bowl. Again, beautiful night, first Friday in October. Heartland Athletic Conference Division III matchup between the Spartans and the Red Tornadoes. And if you're around tomorrow, you're going to make your way up to Lewisburg. There's the Lewisburg Invitational for the cross-country team. It's a junior high meet, which is kind of neat. It's just a junior high one. But that'll be going on tomorrow, so we wish them all the luck. Just under 8 minutes to play here in the first half. 20-7 Red Tornadoes. They've kind of scored in a variety of ways. They had the really long run from Diaz, 80 yards. They had a pretty long run from Blessing of 36, and then they had the smash mouth right up the gut from a yard out for Blessing as well.
And now we'll see a little change here from Coach Rainey. I think it's a wise choice to have Ferrigno in there as a protector.
And they're going to give it to him. And Ferrigno's going to make a couple Red Tornadoes miss as he powers forward down to the 36-yard line. It'll be gain of about 6. Bringing up maybe 5. Let's call it 3rd and 5.
Yeah, a couple of nice moves there for Ferrigno. We talked about him. Last week didn't do a whole lot on the ground, 8 carries for 22 yards, but he's got 90 carries on the season for 406 yards and 4 touchdowns. So he is dangerous with the ball in his hands.
About 4.5 yards a carry coming into tonight, and we've certainly seen that and a little bit more. And you can tell too when he gets near the line of scrimmage and he just drops that shoulder. He's a pretty big kid. He's 6'2", 193.
Yeah, he's a grinder.
Going to give it to him off the right side. And there's a case, Dan, to your point, where Schultz isn't going to get any credit for a tackle there, but he sent him back inside where the help was.
Yep.
Now it's going to be 4th down.
And I can't see Coach Rainey bringing in anything but the offense here in this 4th and short. I mean, it's a little too long to attempt a field goal, a little too short to punt. This is that in-between area where you got to go for it here. And really, I mean, you convert, you get to continue on your drive. You don't, you get, it's kind of where you would end up if you punted anyways.
And Ferrigno goes to the sideline there. It'll only be Stutzman behind Wetzel. And Wetzel's going to keep it himself, and he's not going to get it.
No, he's not.
He took a step back to go forward, and the Red Tornadoes were on top of him before he could pick up any momentum. So on 4th and 2, I think they might have lost a yard. It's going to be 1st and 10 Red Tornadoes somewhere around the 35. We'll have to see exactly where they spot it.
Yeah, that's a big stand for the Red Tornado defense. That's a great job all around. Just hanging tough in there. You kind of saw the writing on the wall, getting Stutzman in there in the backfield that they were gonna go sneak.
Mm-hmm.
Normally, you see Stutzman, you would want him maybe 2 yards behind Wetzel as opposed to the 3-4 that he was. But you're right, Wetzel could, with that little delay step trying to find a seam, just took too long.
And now the Red Tornadoes are back on offense. Blessing out across the 40 to the 41. The other thing I noticed there too, Dan, was I don't know if you caught, as Wetzel came up to the center, he gave him a little tap.
Yeah. Well, sometimes that's a little deceiving because normally that's just letting the center know, hey, I'm under center on this play.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Will we?
It's 2nd and 3. Spears flips it out to Schultz. It's a good tackle out there by Finnegan. I mean, the Red Tornadoes will have the 1st down, a good job by Schultz. But Schultz gets that ball, and when it's on target, he wants to turn to the outside and get upfield.
Yeah.
And Finnegan grabbed him and just didn't really let go.
Yeah, you're right. It was a really good job there. keeping that to a short gain. It's still a Red Tornado first down, but it could have been a lot more.
Blessing again. He's going to bounce to the right side. Not a whole lot of movement there for him. Not north and south, at least.
Yeah.
And the white jersey just kind of kept coming, so he's going to lose 2 on the play.
You know, it seems like without a little bit of play action and some misdirection, Blessing, it doesn't have a whole lot up the middle. So that, I mean, credit to the Spartans, they're kind of clogging up that middle. The Red Tornadoes need that misdirection to kind of get Blessing moving.
Spears is going to throw, and he's got all kinds of receivers open. He finds Schultz, and Schultz will be tackled by Wetzel, but not before he gets the first down and more down to the 32-yard line.
Yeah, you're right. I think he had 4 receivers in the pattern, and 3 of them were open immediately. You saw Diaz. Diaz took about 2 steps off the ball and threw his hand in the air, kind of calling for it there. He was trying to go for the home run, but Spears found Schultz for another big gain.
I want to get another timeout here from the Spartans. And as we sit here and look through kind of some of Spears this night and what he's been able to do, one thing that we talked about was he came into tonight needing 2 completions to pass Nick Sebas for 9th all-time here at Mount Carmel in terms of career completions. I think my math's right. I think he's gotten there. So again, he just kind of continues to climb up that leaderboard.
Yeah.
In all the, pertinent statistical categories for a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean that's we keep talking about it. That's pretty good company to be with. Nick Sebas, a state championship winning quarterback here for the Red Tornadoes. Back in the late '90s, early 2000s. So that's definitely good company to be moving past on the all-time leaderboard.
He's also, this is the 16th time a Red Tornadoes quarterback has thrown for 1,000 yards in a season. So he's only the 16th guy to do, but only 8 have done it twice, one of which being Cole Spears.
Okay.
Now he's going to step up in the pocket, and he's going to be held up and dropped. He might have gotten back to the line of scrimmage. But getting up off the bottom of that pile is 66, Cameron Walker.
Yeah. Yeah, good job by Walker. He kind of contained, rushed, and forced Spears up into the pocket, but did a good job shedding his blocker and making the stop there.
That looked like the definition of a coverage sack.
Yeah.
Because the Spartans did a pretty good job in the defensive backfield, forcing Spears to get up in the pocket. Spears is going to throw again, and he's got Al Bailey. And Al Bailey will be dropped by Wetzel, but again, another first down inside the 20. See, you get down, we'll call it the 15.
Yeah, and Bailey with the soft hands there.
Right.
Did a really nice job reeling that one in because that got on him quick. Spears felt the pressure. It didn't look like Bailey was anticipating it that quickly, but he was ready for it and reeled it in.
And again, whether that's a play action or a true read option where Spears gets to make that choice, he does such a nice job running that play. Now it's Schultz, and Schultz is still on his feet. Be down near the first down marker. Just be a matter of where they say he stepped out of bounds.
And sometimes, Jim, you look at it and you think, oh, that throw came out, it's a little bit low. But a lot of times that's by design. He's protecting his receiver. He doesn't want to hang Schultz out to dry there in one-on-one coverage, put a ball high and have him, take a shot in the rib section there.
Now Spears, he's going to roll to his right. Now he's going to run, and he's going to take a big shot at the goal line, but he's in. And Spears is going to let him know he's still here. 3 yards out. There were 2 Spartans who came a-calling, and Spears held his ground.
And Spears didn't even have to look to the sideline, Jim. After he sheds these hits and gets himself into the end zone, he just walked straight back to the huddle. He knew they were going for 2, and I don't think it was the coach's decision. I think that was Spears said, you know what, I'm staying out here. We're going for 2 now. We're gonna put this at 3 full scores. After that great run and finish to get to 6.
And it's Blessing for the 2 points. 28-7 Red Tornadoes, 3:09 left in the first half. So it's been a good half for the Red Tornadoes. Again, it started and stopped and sputtered a little bit at different points, but they continue to just kind of overwhelm opponents. Again, another 28 points here in less than 24 minutes to start a game.
Yeah, and I mean, it's half isn't over. You know, this Red Tornadoes still have all 3 of their timeouts left, and over 3 minutes to get a stop and get that ball back.
So now we talked about kind of the offensive output this team has had for the last few weeks. And if my memory serves me right, and I've got these stats correct, and if my math is okay, which I feel a little more confident about my math than my memory, that's going to be 120 points the Red Tornadoes have scored in the first half of their last 3 games.
That's pretty impressive. Those are pretty impressive numbers.
Wild.
Yeah.
And I believe they've given up 13.
Yeah, that's also a pretty crazy statistic there. There's just a little bit of disparity in those numbers.
As they say, you can't win a game in the first half, but my goodness, you can give yourself a nice little cushion to play with.
Yeah, and they have absolutely done that.
Hey, Dan, here's something you talked about before the broadcast.
Yeah.
Blessing's going to kick off here for the Red Tornadoes. He does a little bit of everything else. Yeah, nice kick.
Straight on kicker, too.
Little reverse there by the Spartans. The Red Tornadoes do a good job of staying home on that side. Barlow will get up over the 30 before he's upended by Reed and Karicki.
And Blessing down in there on the tackle as well. So he kicked it and said, you know, I'm not going to stay back as a safety valve here. I'm going to go down here and make a tackle. But, Jim, and just something to take a look at here. You see the different shoe on Blessing's foot. I don't remember seeing that since, geez, back when you were at school, Colin Menapace with the flat-toed shoe for the kickoffs. He's a straight-on kicker. He's not a soccer-style kicker, Blessing.
It's very observant, Dan. It's pretty good.
Thanks.
Sorry we keep you around. Wetzel to throw out to Knight. And Knight's got some space. Good tackle by Morganti in the open field, but Knight will have a first down before he got to him.
Yeah, I mean, Morganti was the only guy in between Knight and the end zone there, so really good job of making a sure tackle.
Again, this Red Tornado defense continues to kind of look just really positive and, dare I say, dominate. Again, the 7 points on the board, yes, technically against the defense, but that was a 1st and 10 from the Red Tornado 14, I believe, is where that drive started.
Yeah.
And this time it's going to be Ferrigno off the left side. There's a flag on the play. He's going to be tackled by Delaney. A nice tackle. But we'll see what the call is.
Yeah, in the area of offensive holding.
Right in the mess there. We'll wait for the call officially. There it is. All right. They were signaling against the Spartans, but it wasn't quite sure what the signal was, so I'll walk 10 off on that one.
Right from the line of scrimmage, I believe, too, the original line of scrimmage.
So it'll be 1st and 20. Back to the 35.
And that's tough after getting the first down on the first play of the drive there on the nice little screen play. Moving backwards here.
So now they fake the screen, but he's under pressure. So now he's going to run. He's got a lot of space here. He stops and he floats it over to Anstat. So really a nice job there of pocket presence by Wetzel.
Yeah, directing traffic out there too. You know, he put the pressure on the defense there and made the defensive back have to make a decision. They decided they were going to go up to try to stop the run from Wetzel, which freed up Angstadt, and he hit it over the top for a nice gain and turned that 1st and 20 into another first down.
We're now under 2 minutes remaining in the first half. It's 1st and 10 at the 38 for the Spartans. They will get the ball to start the second half, so they'd love to be able to pull off a little 2-for-1 here. And Wetzel will flick it out this time to Finnegan, and Finnegan's going to try to come back across the formation, but there's nothing there but Widener, who's going to fling him down as Reed finishes him off.
Yeah, and Finnegan did a really good job reeling that ball in. I mean, that was coming in hot. He kind of just plucked it out of the air.
And now the Red Tornadoes are going to use a timeout here.
You know, why not, Jim? You can't take them with you.
You know, when I set you up to say, you don't say it. If I don't get a chance.
So I like to get ahead of it.
So it'll be second and about 14.
No, but I like the call there by Coach Dyer. You don't want to use them on those first downs when the Spartans are moving in the right direction. But now you put them behind the sticks here. Time to start using your timeouts. Give your team another chance if they can get a 3-and-out now to get the ball back with a little bit of time.
Again, a reminder, tonight's WKMC TV broadcast sponsored by VFW Post 2110. We appreciate their support and thank all veterans for their service. So the Spartans come out and they'll stay pretty open. There'll be 3 receivers to the right, a single receiver to the left. That's Stutzman in the backfield with Wetzel. He's going to go straight back and flick it out to Stutzman. But Karicki's going to be there, as well as Miller and Schultz. And the Red Tornadoes will use their second timeout of the half before a 3rd and 12.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, a really good job there by the Red Tornado defense, kind of flowing to the football and just, you know, being able to move laterally. That on the defensive line, that defensive front, they do a really good job when the ball gets out. You know, they're putting pressure on the quarterback. When the ball gets out, they're shedding their blockers and they're moving laterally to make some stops, help out the defensive backfield a little bit.
So it's Friday. What comes before Friday? Thursday. Specifically Thursday night. And if you're in the area on Thursday nights, you want to make sure you make your way to Supper Club at Matucci's Willow Street Cafe. Again, 6:30. You have a great opportunity there for good conversation around Red Tornado football. You can meet some coaching staff, players, cheerleaders, band members, TV studio, a little bit of everything. And oh, by the way, some of the best food you'll find in the area.
Absolutely.
Thursday nights, Supper Club, Matucci's Willow Street Cafe at 6:30. Wetzel to throw, and he throws a laser, and he's got, that's Bartlett, excuse me, for a first down. Be down near the 20.
Yeah, now, I mean, the Spartans might start seeing a little bit of pace here from the Spartans. We're getting down under a minute and a half, and that clock is going to run once it's set, and it's running now. But, I mean, we're still seeing them huddle. They don't seem to be in too much of a hurry.
Well, it's that delicate dance, right? Because you want as many shots at the end as you can get, but you don't want the Red Tornadoes to get the ball back either.
You're absolutely right.
60 seconds left here. Wetzel drops back, and he throws it over the middle.
Oh.
Bartlett not looking, and it was a little too high for Morganti, who could just get a hand on it, incomplete.
Yeah, just a bit too tall, but you're right. I mean, yeah, we talked about it, Jim. All 5 before this game and the 1 today, also all 6 of Wetzel's passing touchdowns have gone to Bartlett, and he seems to kind of go his way when he's under pressure. He's looking for number 1.
Bartlett, not a huge guy, 5'11", 192 pounds, but he looks a little imposing out there when they put him in the slot. Now Wetzel's under pressure from Karicki. He's going to throw back across his body. He's got Finnegan for another first down with 50 seconds left. The clock will stop as they reset the chains. It's going to be inside the 10, so they're going to have first and goal, 4 plays in 50 seconds.
And that clock is running again. So a little bit more, a little bit more speed from the Spartans get up to the line here.
Stay in that shotgun wide set. The Red Tornadoes come after Wetzel. They get a hand on the ball. It'll be incomplete. I think that was Reed.
Yeah, anytime you see that ball get tipped at the line of scrimmage and go up in the air, you think there's got to be somebody around it to get that one. But Red Tornado, I mean, defensive backfield in great coverage. He would have had to thread a needle there to hit anybody.
So the incomplete pass will stop the clock. 33.8 remaining here. Both sides have a timeout left, but now we've got an official timeout here. And Maddox Reed is being sent to the sideline. Looks like for an equipment issue. And it'll be spelled by Blessing. Wetzel to throw, and he goes over. No, it's intercepted. That's incomplete.
Oh.
Kinsel had it for a second, but he read the slant the whole way and stepped in front of it.
I mean, yeah, Kimsel just reading the quarterback's eyes, you know, kind of knowing where he wanted to go with the ball, knew that Wetzel had to get it out quick, did a really good job being in position there, and almost took it the other way. But either way, it's just putting more pressure on this Spartans offense, because now you've got 2 plays and 30 seconds, just under 30 seconds, to put points on the board before the half.
Now they're going to run it. Ferrigno fakes the reverse. He's going to pick his way. He's trying to get north and south, but the Red Tornadoes do a good job of stopping him. Now I think what you're going to see here.
The Spartans used their last timeout.
That's not what I thought you were going to see. Well,
I thought they were going to let the clock run a little bit more.
That's kind of where I was going, was okay. Or at least make Coach Dara use his, right?
Agreed,
because it's 4th and goal from the, what are the balls at the 3 yard, the 2 yard line?
Yeah, I think it's the 2.
There's,
if you look at the near official down here, it looks like he's standing right at the 2.
So the reality is you got 1 play.
Yeah.
Right? You can't pick up a first down.
If you're the Spartans.
Sure.
Right.
You can't pick up a first down. You can't. Now, are you going to, you're not going to kick. I support that. I think that's the right choice here.
Yeah. Yeah, you want 6. I mean, this could be a huge momentum shift going into the second half, or going into halftime. So I mean, you have to try and put this ball in the end zone.
Personally, I think I would have waited to call my timeout.
Yeah, agreed.
Because regardless of what happens on this play, the Red Tornadoes are going to get the ball back. And Wetzel's going to roll to his right. He's going to keep it himself, and he's going to be stopped. There's no signal. The Red Tornadoes turned him away. 4th and goal from the 3. He does not get in.
And I mean, he's got to be as close to the goal line as possible here, Jim. We'll get a good look at it here. I mean, we'll see. I'm not sure what the look is, but did the ball come out? I think the ball came out, Jim.
That's exactly what it was, Dan. And it'll be recovered by the Red Tornadoes. So it'll be 1st and 10 from their own goal line here with 11.9 seconds left. Now this is a situation where if the Red Tornadoes were more apt to go under center,
yeah,
you might just let Spears sneak it, fall forward, and end the half.
Yeah.
But that's so out of character that you almost wonder, is that more of a risk? So they'll stay in the shotgun double wing, it looks like. And if there's one thing we can say about this offense, in this formation in particular, it doesn't often lose yards.
No.
And so they'll give it to Diaz. Oh, boy. Thought maybe for a second there. Diaz will get out across to 5, but that's going to be the last play of the first half. And the Red Tornadoes are going to go into the locker room on the back of a huge defensive stop, and they'll maintain their 28-7 lead. We'll be back. We'll be back in the second half, with the second half, with stats and scores from around the area. So please stay tuned.
Drum major Quinn Draper, is your band ready? Presenting their show an alternative view, East Lycoming School District is proud to present the Hughesville Spartans Marching Band.
Hello and welcome back to the Silver Bowl, where after the first half of play, the Red Tornadoes lead the visiting Hughesville Spartans 28-7. Courtesy of Jose Gonzalo, we've got some stats from the first half, so Dan, you want to dive right into those?
Yeah, for the Red Tornadoes here, we've got 16 rushing attempts for 185 yards, 7 of 8 passing for 73 yards. That's 258 total yards of offense, 8 first downs, and 28 points on the board. For the Spartans, 14 carries for 42 yards, 13 of 23 for 126, 10 first downs, 168 total yards, and that's 7 on the board for them.
Yeah, those touchdowns from the Red Tornado side, 2 for Blessing, 1 for Diaz, and the 1 for Spears, where, my goodness, we talk about how tough Spears is, and we've talked a lot this season about kind of his return from the injury last year, and I mean, he came back last season.
Yeah.
Right, he was back in the middle of the season. So there's no question there, really.
Yeah. I mean, you talked about those numbers individually. Diaz, 4 carries for 38 yards, Blessing, 7 for 65, and Schultz, 5 receptions for 48 yards in the first half. So that's the kind of the big 3 we like to talk about, along with Spears on the offensive side of the ball.
And you know who I'd like to talk to after that half? I'd like to hear from Coach John Darrett. And fortunately for us, we've got Alyssa Trefsker down on the sideline who's going to grab a couple minutes of Coach Darrett's time here. So, Alyssa, what do you have for us?
I'm here with Coach Darrett. Coach, can you tell me the key to success for the second half of the game?
I thought we were sloppy at times in the first half, too many penalties. So we really want to cut down on that. I think if we do that, we'll have much more success in the second half.
Alrighty, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Alyssa. Phenomenal job. Look at that. We talk all the time about this being a student-run TV studio. It's phenomenal. It was cool enough when we started getting these kind of sideline shots from the cameras. Now we've got in-game interviews with the man himself, Coach Darrett. Great job, Alyssa. We look forward to more of that in the future.
Yeah, Joe, I mean, that's like collegiate level stuff. You know, you see Nick Saban getting interviewed coming back from the half on the sideline there. So that's awesome, being able to get that insider scoop there and hear it. You know, we kind of are up here and we're able to kind of assume. You know, we think, you know, this is maybe what Coach Darrett wants to do, but now you get to actually hear it from the horse's mouth. It's nice to get insider information from the coach on the field in the game. It's pretty awesome.
I hope for Alyssa's sake that Coach Darrett never decides to pull a Mike McDaniel. You know that clip where he's kind of running away from the sideline, or the halftime cameraman?
Yeah.
Running towards the tunnel. But that's a pretty cool feature. We'll see if we're able to do that a little bit more going forward. But here on the field, again, as Dan said, we had the stats that provided some of the context to the score you're looking on the scoreboard. And this had the chance to go a little bit different into the half. If you were with us there, the Red Tornadoes turned away the Spartans on 4th and goal from the 3 with less than 20 seconds remaining in the half. And we'll see the Spartans are about to get the football to start the half, so very easily could have tried to institute that 2-for-1 there.
And Jim, you know, we talked about kind of coming into the game that we thought the Spartans were going to be pretty apt to put the ball in the air. I mean, 23 passing attempts in the first half is, I mean, realistically, Wetzel's on pace to throw the ball nearly 50 times tonight. Right. I mean, with the success that they've had putting the ball in the air, they've kept the ball, they've kept the Red Tornado offense off the field a little bit more than some other teams have had the capability of doing, just because they're able to extend drives. They're getting the first downs in long yardage situations because they're throwing the football, and they've given themselves a chance. You know, this game is far from out of reach for them.
Again, tonight's contest, the Pennsylvania Heartland Athletic Conference Division III matchup between the 4-2 Red Tornadoes and the 3-3 Hughesville Spartans, is sponsored by VFW Post 2110. We thank those veterans and all veterans for their service. As we see the Red Tornadoes huddling around the football here, getting ready to kick off.
Yeah, they're all huddling around there, but I see Blessing with that boot on again, so we're going to see it again. You know, we talked about that flat-toe boot. We talked about Colin Menapace, other guys back from, some state championship teams. Mike Sinkovich, I think, was the first one I saw with the flat-toed boot doing the kickoffs, and he also was pretty pretty successful kicking extra points as well with that straight-on kicking.
I think he held the record just until a couple of years ago,
Yeah.
right, when Julian Stellar. But we're underway here. That's a short kickoff. It's going to bounce in front, and it'll be taken by, that's Stutzman,
Yes.
30, to the 36-yard line, and that's where the Spartans will start the third quarter.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent field position there for the Spartans to be in to start the second half. And again, you know, we talked about just the capability. I'd like to see, you know, at the end of the game tonight, what Bartlett's numbers are. You know, because Wetzel's got some pretty good numbers through that first half. And a lot of that has gone to Bartlett.
So no change up here from the Spartans. It'll be 4 wide with Ferrigno in the backfield. Bartlett comes in motion across the formation. And there's not going to be a flag there, but perhaps Wetzel with the spin move will pick up about 6 out across the 40. So a nice job there. I was about to say perhaps the Spartans wish there was a flag.
Yeah.
Because it looked like Wetzel was going to be sacked for a loss, but he made a few red jerseys miss and had a nice gain.
Yeah, that spin move was impressive. I mean, it was quick. He kept his footing. I have to say, Jim, from being a former, I wouldn't say running back, but a former back, the spin move was one of the hardest ones to kind of master. You know, keeping your footing, being able to get your eyes around. So that's great job by Wetzel. Turn that into a nice little gain.
Anytime you have to turn your back to the defense is a little sketchy.
Yeah.
And they'll give it to Stutzman off the right side, and he's going to fight forward. He'll be close to a first down. He might have it.
I think he's going to have it, Jim.
But that was an interesting kind of formation there, Dan, where they brought Bartlett in motion very slowly.
Yeah, that's a float motion. Float motion. They wanted to have him, instead of having him come through the line, and he is a first down, but instead of having him come all the way through the formation there, they kind of floated them, and then they had Stutzman just run right up behind him. It's kind of bringing like a lead blocker into the backfield.
They may try it again here. Bartlett will clear the tackle. Now Wetzel to throw, and he's got Bartlett behind the defense.
Oh.
Incomplete. Bartlett got turned around a little bit. I think he was looking for the ball maybe further out in front of him, had to turn back around.
And I mean, just off his fingertips, because you're right, Jim. He was kind of able to split the safeties there in the defensive backfield. And if he reeled that in, there was nobody in between him and the end zone.
And give Wetzel credit for standing in there. He took a shot again.
Yeah, he's been taking hits all game, but he's a tough kid in there at quarterback. He's not afraid to stand in there and deliver that football, knowing the pressure's bearing down on him.
Wetzel take the snap and hand it off to Stutzman, who's going to be run out of bounds by Delaney. Excuse me, that's Kimzel for maybe a yard.
Yeah, that's a good job there by Kimzel. Really didn't give Stutzman anywhere to go. But Jim, that's something to keep an eye on here for the Spartans. Seen Stutzman in the backfield to start the second half here. I've not seen Ferrigno. I think I see him over on the Spartan sideline. It's something to keep an eye on. Is their leading rusher not being in the game?
Wetzel to throw again. He's under pressure. He's going to float it out, and it's going to be intercepted by Delaney. Miscommunication there by the Spartans. Had Delaney all by himself in center field. He's got a good return on. He's going to get back nearly to midfield. I'm going to say he goes out of bounds at the 49-yard line. So it'll be 1st and 10, Red Tornadoes from there.
Yeah, that's a really good job there by Delaney, just kind of being Johnny on the spot. Seeing the ball kind of float in the air. Nobody around him. He took his time. He reeled that one in, and then just set up some blockers to get a decent return there. Put the Red Tornadoes in good field position to start their first drive of the second half.
Remember, Delaney had a big night week 1 versus North Schuylkill.
Yep.
And then was out with an injury for the next few weeks. He came back in limited fashion last week, but he's certainly full strength here as Spears completes another one to Diaz for a gain of 6.
And we're seeing everybody hustling up to the line here. The Red Tornadoes, they don't want to slow down. They want to keep that pace and keep that pressure on the Spartans' defense.
Adams and Diaz split to the right. It's Schultz by himself to the short side of the field. Spears is going to throw, and he's going to look for Diaz, who split the defenders, and it's intercepted by Knight. So the Spartans will get the ball back right away, albeit in a little worse field position, but nevertheless, they'll turn that Red Tornado offense away. It'll be 1st and 10, about the 12-yard line.
Yeah, as you have the Red Tornadoes and the Spartans kind of trade turnovers here to start the second half. You know, we talked, and that's the unfortunate thing for the Red Tornadoes. Coach Dara, you know, came back when it talked about having a little bit of a sloppy first half with some penalties. You know, you also want to limit the turnovers, and now that's their Red Tornado's second turnover of the night. And if everybody remembers, the first one turned into points for the Spartans.
Spears has thrown it about 120 times on the season. That's only his 3rd interception. Nice play by Lukoski.
Very nice play.
As the Spartans try to keep eating on that quick little rocket screen, but Lukoski was about a step away from taking that for 6 the other way.
Yeah, and you kind of heard it in the Red Tornado fan section here. You know, the bleachers underneath us, you kind of heard the ooh, everybody thought that he was going to be able to get to it, but he didn't get to the ball. But he got to the receiver pretty quickly and turned that into a loss.
Is that Ferrigno back there with Wetzel now, Dan?
Looks like a pretty big kid, so yes, it is.
And now he's going to have a little space. He's out across the 20. And he's going to take a shot out of bounds, so they'll add 15 to the end of that one.
Yeah, I think he had enough for the first down to start with.
So we'll see until they walk this one off. Again, that'll be a penalty against the Red Tornadoes. So they're going to walk it off from the 25. So it'll be 1st and 10 from the 40, and considering they started around the 11, already done regardless of the outcome of the rest of this drive, it's kind of a nice job of flipping the field a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it was a good run by Ferrigno there. And then, you know, again, you know, he talked about the things that need to be cleaned up here in the second half for the Red Tornadoes. Already with a turnover and now a big penalty to kind of spark this Spartans drive.
Wetzel, he's going to float it out, and again, just a little bit of miscommunication there between Wetzel and his receiver. It looked like he expected Anstadt to be a little further up the field.
Yeah.
And
and it's tough sometimes, you know, quarterback receiver, because it all depends on how the defense is playing it. You know, especially those routes. It looks like they're kind of flooding the field that way. They have a deep corner and an out route, maybe 10 to 12 yards, and then you have, you know, your underneath guy, and it all depends on where the defense is at, is where the receivers are going to go. So with Wetzel being under pressure, he's got to get that ball out quick. So he has to know and anticipate where the receiver's going to be.
Float that one out high of Finnegan, so it'll be 3rd and 10. But we talked about it, and it's kind of been feast or famine in some respect from a pass rush standpoint. There's sometimes where it looks like the Red Tornadoes are there almost as the ball's snapped, but there are other plays, the last 2 in particular, where Wetzel's had a pretty clean pocket to operate from within.
Yeah, and I think early downs, the Red Tornadoes are apt to kind of hang back and not send a whole lot of pressure. They want to have coverage sacks if they're going to get pressure on Wetzel. But now you see the linebackers walked up on the line here. They're going to bring some heat at Wetzel.
Bartlett will come across the motion, and the Spartans are going to try to counter that with a run, but they're not going to get much from Ferrigno. He'll pick up maybe 3. It's going to be 4th and 7, and they'll punt it away.
It's a really good job by the Red Tornado defense to hold there after the penalty. So we'll see these these dangerous punt returners for the Red Tornadoes get another opportunity here.
But on a 4th and 10, that handoff play, Dan, I can't help but think it's a recognition by Coach Rainey of what you had stated, in that the Red Tornadoes are probably going to bring a blitz. And Kimsel's got some space now, and he's going to be taken out of bounds, but well into Spartan territory at about the 41-yard line.
Yeah, it was a really good return there by Kimsel, but you're right, Jim. I think that's exactly what it is. It's just trying to slow down that pass rush of the Red Tornadoes. You know that they're going to dial up the pressure on a third and long situation. Normally a passing down, especially with a team like Hughesville that is so apt to put the ball in the air. So it's a nice little counter. It's just something, you know, it didn't work out this time. They had to punt the ball away. But it's something now that the Red Tornado defense has to keep in the back of their head.
So the Red Tornadoes will stay wide open here. 7:54 left in the third quarter, 28-7 Mount Carmel. It's Blessing. He's going to be taken down. 66, Cameron Walker kind of rode him for a few yards before dragging him to the turf.
Yeah, Walker's been in on a lot of tackles there up the middle. He's been doing a good job kind of holding his ground there on the defensive line.
Well, what I can't help but notice, Dan, you made this point in the first half, that when it's kind of just a straight handoff like that and there's not a lot of eye candy in the backfield, the Spartans have held up pretty well, and they almost hold up again with a very closely to an interception.
And Jim, you know, we've talked about, we're not sure if that's a run pass option. That time I saw one of the offensive linemen down about 6-7 yards downfield for the Red Tornadoes after that ball was tipped in the air, so it was legal. But I think that is a real run pass option that's up to Spears to kind of make that decision.
You give it to Blessing, and Blessing tried to get upfield behind Karicki. But again, not a whole lot there. The Spartans move well laterally, and it's going to be 4th and 3 for the Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, and you see the Red Tornadoes here going old bread and butter here. Tight, look for Diaz on the outside.
It'll be Blessing up the middle. Just like
before.
Dan thought.
Yeah.
First down, though, for the Red Tornadoes. There are a few things I enjoy as much as just that kind of instant feedback on a thought.
All right, now you see a lot of green grass there on that wide side of the field. Look for Diaz on the outside here. Keep saying it until it happens.
And it'll be Diaz up the middle. He cut up the middle, I'll give you that one. But a nice run nevertheless for another first down. Down near the 10. Keep him just outside of the 10. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 11.
At least I had the right runner this time.
Spears is going to throw. He floats it out to Diaz. And now Diaz is going to use his speed. And he's in. But we're going to get a flag on the Red Tornadoes here.
Yeah.
We'll wait for the official call.
I'd say it's going to be a block in the back here.
It'll be a hold. No, just kidding. It's a block in the back against the Red Tornadoes.
I got to be right on one. That's always a tough one, though, that block in the back, because especially when you have a guy with speed like Diaz, you get defenders turning around in the process of being blocked. You know, so it's hard as a blocker. It's hard as a blocker to get that play, you know, kind of get your hands off the defender as they're turning their back to you.
The block happened a couple yards in front of the line of scrimmage, so the 10-yard penalty will take us back to about the 17-yard line. It'll be 1st and 15 now or so. And Diaz is going to get around the edge, but a nice job by the Spartans there. It looked like, I'm trying to see in particular, was that Finnegan? I'm still tracking his
Finnegan
helmet.
or Wetzel, I think.
Actually, I think it was Fisher. I think it was 2 threes on that one, not just one.
Okay, I thought it was a 2. Your eyes are a little better than mine are, though, Jim.
Spears to throw. He's going to go in the middle. He's got Schultz for a touchdown. The defender was draped all over him, but Schultz pulls it in, used his big body for positioning, and it's 34-7 Red Tornadoes.
Yeah, I don't know if Schultz plays basketball, but he's got a really good box out and did a great job. You're right. That's just positioning there. He kept himself inside, boxed out the defender, and let that ball get travel and get to his body. Made a really nice play.
So Shoppy will come on for the extra point. Had one blocked tonight, not that one. That one is going to be short. So it'll stay 34-7 here at the Silver Bowl on tonight's WKMC TV broadcast, sponsored by VFW Post 2110. 2110 just sounds like a football score, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
It makes me want to check some scores from around the area. Let's see what we've got going on here. All right, so Danville and Montoursville. Danville kind of continues their dominance, 35-0 over Montoursville.
Wow.
North Schuylkill up 28-6 in Jim Thorpe.
Okay.
Southern Columbia handling their business against Central Columbia 34-7.
North Schuylkill's got a big one coming up next week. I heard it's a game to watch. They've got Palmerton next week, who came into this week unbeaten. So that'll be a good game for North Schuylkill next week.
Shamokin trails Jersey Shore 35-7 in the third quarter. Another set of games we're always interested in. Just, again, it's week 7. You and I can start talking about playoffs, right?
Right, absolutely.
It's week 7. Troy, who's currently the number 2 ranked team in Class 2A for District 4, leads Towanda 20-0 in the second quarter.
Towanda, number 4 in the rankings. So two good teams to be keeping an eye on there.
Yep, so we'll get a stop there. Bartlett went down on a knee to pick up to field the kick. So it's going to be 1st and 10. Well, a lot of people thought he went down on a knee. Now there's some conversation between the officials. I don't know what you'd do if he wasn't now.
Yeah, I mean the play stopped either way, so you got to. I mean, you have to place the ball there. I mean, you have to.
And that looks like what we'll do. It's at the 17-yard line. And we talked all night, and we talk all week, or every week that we're out here, about WKMC TV as a student-run TV studio. And we want to make sure that we're acknowledging the specific students that are out here with us every Friday, home, away, rain, shine, early, late, warm, cold, and all the terrific work they do. So tonight's director is Landon Musser on cameras as Wetzel goes up top for Finnegan, miss him high. On cameras, we have Samantha Zatney, Lucas Lubinsky, Corey Carl, and Hannah Forspring. Replay, we have Gavin Lasko, Abby Bomer. On graphics are Isabella Jacook, photographers Zoe Psycho, and Alyssa Trefsker. And again, we had Alyssa on the sideline for, I don't want to say it's our first ever in-game interview, but I can't remember many others.
For first time in a long time, at least.
So doing a lot of cool stuff here, as always, with WKMC TV. Wetzel's going to run the option to Bartlett, and Bartlett's going to try to get around Schultz. He does a good job slowing him up before the cavalry can come.
I'll tell you what, though, Jim. Wetzel paid the price for that one. He had Belichick and Widener bearing down on him, and they both put a shot on Wetzel right as he let that pitch go. But it turns into a nice gain either way for the Spartans.
I feel like you don't see the option a lot.
No, not anymore.
Obviously, at high school, it's always kind of a tricky situation. But even college, outside of the military academies, is anybody running the option regularly?
No, I don't think so.
That's a shame. Wetzel's going to throw off his back foot. He's got Bartlett, but again, that's
just
inches.
Out of reach.
I mean, the number of big plays the Spartans have missed by a few inches tonight is astonishing.
It is.
They're right there.
You're absolutely right, Jim. I mean, that's Wetzel just under pressure. You think if Wetzel has time to put a little bit on that throw, it gets there.
Oh yeah. Yep. So we'll see Keegan Smith punting again. No rush from the Red Tornadoes. It's a nice end-over-end punt to Diaz. He's going to field it at his own 49. And look at all those red jerseys set up. And this could be trouble for the Spartans. They have enough white jerseys there, but there is a flag on the play, so perhaps it would have all been for naught anyway.
Right around where the tackle was made too. So I mean, the positive for the Red Tornadoes, if this does go against them, is that it shouldn't negate the return to that point at least. It should be, Diaz is still going to get credit for a nice little return.
And they did signal a hold against the Red Tornadoes, so they'll walk it off from that spot. So to Dan's point, they should still be inside the 40-yard line to start this drive. So it'll be about the 37-yard line. And so, yeah, about a 15-yard return is what Diaz will get out of that.
Yeah. Better than some.
Sure.
Better than a fair catch, you know.
Something's better than nothing. Spears will give it to Blessing, and that, again, that's a great play by Stutzman.
Yeah.
That's just not there tonight without some sort of, like I said, some window dressing, eye candy, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it seems like the action in the backfield is enough to kind of open up, or at least hold those linebackers of the Spartans enough to open up some lanes for Blessing.
Spears to throw, and he's got Schultz if he wants it, but he's going to go to Blessing underneath. So it'll be a nice, smart check down by Spears. And bring up third and manageable.
Yeah, Blessing did a really good job there. He came out, he feinted like he was going to block a little bit, and then kind of just turned around and got his hand up and made himself visible. You know, normally linebackers are bailing out, they're dropping into a hook curl zone. You're able to get that little short gain.
Spears is going to keep it himself. He's going to have the first down just on the back of a tremendous individual effort. He left Spartans lying in his wake.
Yeah, he did.
He'll get down to about the 20. Where are they going to put it? 24. They'll say he's right at the 25. So it'll only be a gain of 4, but they needed 3. And they're right back on it. Spears is going to throw again. Now he's going to roll to his right. He's looking for Diaz. He doesn't have him, so now he's going to run. He's going to go back into the thicket and get down inside the 20.
Yeah, he got spun down by number 75, Jonathan Davis, for the Spartans. And again, just right back on the ball here.
Now we're going to get a flag here. It looks like it's signaling offsides against the Spartans. That's what it'll be. So I don't think they went to a hard count. Must have been where he lined up.
Lined up in the neutral zone would be my assumption. Yeah, that's.
So Dan, in your experience, does that get called the first time, or do you get kind of? I know you can't, you can't get a warning, but do you get a warning kind of thing?
I think a lot of times the officials, I mean, the ones that are looking straight down the line, they'll try to holler to you. Yeah, hey, got to move back 75. You know, whoever it is that's lined up over the ball, got to move back 31. But if you don't hear the message, they're throwing the flag.
Blessing to the right side. Nice tackle made by Connor Knight. So it'll be second and maybe 4.
Yeah, it looks like Fesniak comes out and Bailey goes in. So you get down in the deep into the red zone here. Red Tornadoes going with a little bit more beef. Maybe a lead rusher here for Blessing or Spears.
Looks like the ball sits at about the 6-yard line. And Spears is going to throw, and he's looking for Adams, and Adams has it!
Wow.
What a catch by number 7, Tate Adams. Touchdown, Red Tornadoes, 40-7, with 2:15 left in the third quarter.
Wow. Wow. That was an impressive catch there by Adams. And you know, we talk about the Red Tornado receivers. None of them really too big. Schultz built like a tight end. Adams is kind of the length guy. They got him listed at 6'1", and he's got the length. So Spears was able to kind of put that in a spot where only Adams could go up and get it, and he went up and got it from the top shelf and pulled it down for 6.
Yeah, he's 6'1", but that kid's a lot of arms.
Yeah, he is. He's long.
Oh, Job, his kick is up And that one's going to drop in like a flop shot.
Yeah.
So it'll be 41-7 now here at the Silver Bowl.
Yeah, and you see some life here in this Red Tornado sideline there. With the Spartans hanging around, everybody was kind of on the edge of their seat. That score there to Adams puts a little bit of comfort for the Red Tornadoes. I think they feel a little bit more comfortable. They're still not happy. Still a sloppy game to this point. Some penalties, some turnovers, but realistically, I mean, the defense has been playing stellar, and the offense has been finding ways to put points on the board.
Well, it's one thing, and I think we talked about this, I want to say last week at Midwest, where, again, you're through, almost 3 full quarters. You got 40 points on the board. You have a 34-point lead. You feel pretty good about things, but if you're Coach Dara, you say, yeah, and you know what? And I still got a lot of stuff that we can work on this week.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, there's been a lot of penalties that kind of need to be addressed. It's small stuff, but they're negating some big plays. So it's definitely stuff that needs to be addressed. Or you're giving up yards that you don't need to be giving up. The penalties on the defensive side of the ball. So there's always something for a coach to kind of pick on. But if you're on the Red Tornado sideline right now, the way your defense is playing outside of the penalties and your offense outside of the penalties, you're happy.
This will be another kickoff return by Fisher. Again, the Spartans' leading tackler coming into tonight has had his fair share of kick returns.
Yeah, he has, and that's the Red Tornadoes look like they're kind of trying to find their kicker, their kickoff guy. We've seen Karicki and we've seen Blessing to this point, and up to this point throughout the year, it's mostly been Shoppy and Karicki. So just trying to find the right mixture there on the kickoff team.
Bartlett in motion. And Wetzel looks in his direction. Then he looks for Finnegan, and it's incomplete. I think if that ball would have been on target, Finnegan would have had to answer to Mr. Morganti.
Yeah. I mean, Morganti had his sights locked on Finnegan, but credit to him, realizing that the ball that the catch wasn't made and kind of letting up at the end, because that's another one of those chances where sometimes you get penalized for hitting a guy too hard, and it looked like he was going to put a hit on Finnegan.
He had the opportunity. And they'll go back to the I formation and hand it off to Ferrigno, and not a whole lot going on there.
It's Karicki. Karicki, first man on the scene there, came from the defensive tackle spot. And I mean, I know on the defensive line you have to stay low and everything, but it looked like Karicki almost crawled to Ferrigno to make that tackle. Either way, really, really great job shedding a blocker and making that tackle for a very short gain.
So it's 3rd and 9. Ball at the Spartan 44. Wetzel to throw. Throws a laser out there. It's a great ball tonight, and they'll have a first down.
Yeah, it's a really, really good pass there. Knight did a good job of reeling that one in. And I mean, again, Wetzel under pressure. Morganti just missed getting that one underneath. He was trying to coming on the underneath route. He knew there was coverage behind him, so he was trying to make a play on the ball and just missed it.
One thing we call out here, looking down in the sidelines, Tate Adams caught the touchdown pass. He's part of that kind of wide receiver rotation, but he's seeing a few more snaps tonight because with Belichick out. And that's the type of catch that we've seen Belichick kind of make his bones on, so to speak.
Absolutely.
This season. As another good ball out tonight for a first down for the Spartans. But you see them down there talking, no doubt, discussing strategy and kind of recognizing the similarities in the way they go after those balls in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah, and after the PAT, because Adams is also the holder on the extra points, Belichick was the first one to greet him as Adams was coming to the sideline, so it's always good to see that. These guys are rooting for each other out there. But we talked about Wetzel. I mean, Wetzel's orchestrating a pretty nice drive here for the Spartans.
Yeah, these out routes, especially to the wide side of the field, as we see a handoff to Stutzman that doesn't go anywhere thanks to who else but Karicki.
Yeah.
Those those outs to the wide side of the field that have to get over the flat defender and in front of that kind of deep corner, or that deep half defender.
Yeah.
That's a tough throw to make.
So tough. And I mean, keeping that ball in bounds, getting it over top of the flat defender, and giving your receiver, he's putting it right into the receiver's stomach where they're able to protect themselves from the because as soon as that ball's getting over the flat defender, they're turning around and looking for somebody to hit. He's protecting his receivers as well.
I'm gonna try to get a sweep to Ferrigno, but that's just not, the ball's out. And we'll see who has the football. I think it's gonna be the Red Tornadoes, although it took a few different directions. And Schultz came out of the bottom with it. There was still no signal, but
they're gonna call that an incomplete pass. There was zero effort for him to throw the ball, but they're going to call it an incomplete pass. I mean, that ball got knocked out of Ferrigno's hand up into the air, but the head referee appears pretty adamant that he was attempting to throw that football.
Well, I would argue that just because the ball moves forward doesn't necessitate it being a forward pass.
Correct. Yeah.
And I think wherever you are and whenever you may be watching, rewind that one and let us know what you think. As it stands, the last play of the third quarter will be a 3rd and 10 for Wetzel. He goes back and he's going to throw a rocket. It's Knight again. So the third quarter will end with another first down for the Spartans, though they trail the Red Tornadoes 41-7.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, again, you talked about it. May be too little, too late here for the Spartans, but they're putting together a very nice drive here. That we thought that the Red Tornadoes had kind of thwarted out on that last play, but the Spartans kind of benefited from that call and took advantage of it and turned it into another first down.
So one thing we've talked about a lot tonight, we talked about the Brick Project. As always, we talk about Supper Club. Mind Across Country Junior High has a meet at Lewisburg tomorrow. But the other thing we always like to talk about, because we appreciate our educators here, is the Mount Carmel Area Education Association. So that's an opportunity for you as an alumni, fan, a community member, whatever you want to call yourself, to support the school district through trusts, gifts, and requests. So that in doing so, you kind of help maintain a meaningful and effective learning culture here at Mount Carmel by providing opportunities in the academics, arts, and athletics. Again, the cool thing about that is you can kind of decide where those donations go. You can send it to football or cross country or cheerleading or the TV studio. You can do all these kinds of things, and you can do it for yourself, for others, in honor of a loved one. If you want to do that, head out to Head out to www.mca.k12.pa.us or call 570-339-1500.
That's well defended again in the defensive backfield there by Delaney. Did a good job. It appeared that he and the receiver Knight both kind of fell down on the play. But there was still an opportunity for Knight to reel that one in. It looked like Delaney tried to swat at it last second, caused the incompletion.
2nd and 10 from the 19. Twins to the right with two backs with Wetzel, and he's going to hand it to Ferrigno, who's going to try to get behind Stutzman. But again, that interior Red Tornado defense doesn't give up a whole lot. I think that's Widener and Reed on the stop.
Yeah, and it looked like Ferrigno had a crease for a second there. We could kind of see straight into the hole that was there, but it closed very quickly by that Red Tornado defense.
So same formation, just flipped. Keep the two stacked to the left. And Wetzel's going to throw. He likes that support, and he floats it out for Knight, and he's got him.
I think that's...
Touchdown!
I think that's Bartlett, Jim.
It is Bartlett. Knight's standing over here. So that's now 7 touchdowns on the season for Bartlett and 7 for Wetzel.
Yeah.
So 11-11 left in the fourth quarter, 41-13. at this juncture with the PAT pending.
Yeah, Joe. I mean, that was the most well put together drive, I think, of the Spartans night. I mean, they went the only other scoring drive that they had, they started on the Red Tornado 14-yard line. So, I mean, they put together a nice little drive. They converted some third downs when they had to. That one specifically, and they got 6 points, 7 points on the board. So it's a nice drive there.
Farley's kick up and good to make it 41-14. And Dan, that drive, there's one word that comes to mind with Wetzel's performance on that: surgical.
Yeah.
Right, it was very much kind of sliced and diced all the way down the field with those really 10 to 12-yard outs.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, that was the majority of the gains there, and if, of course, the drive finished with that same route there to Bartlett, and again, I mean, it was credit to Wetzel for being able to put the ball in where it had to be, but Bartlett did a really good job of retaining possession of the catch, keeping his feet in bounds with, Red Tornado defenders draped all over him. So really good job all around.
Yeah, and it shouldn't be a huge surprise to the Red Tornadoes to think about what Bartlett can do. Last season, in the regular season game here, Bartlett had 8 catches for 151 yards at a touchdown.
Wow.
Again, the Red Tornadoes won that one handily, 46-20. And actually, and led 39-0 going into the fourth quarter.
Okay.
But again, Bartlett, he's a talented kid. We were talking about this before. Some of the things Coach Rainey and the Spartans the coaching staff have been able to do is really, as they grow this program.
Yeah.
These kids have been playing the last few years. Like these are names that we've said for years now.
Yes, they're retaining, and that's really, really good job there.
That's Seth Spears, yep.
By Spears on that front line, recovering that football. But
he gets high fives from everybody for that one.
Yeah, I think we got a timeout from Hughesville. But yeah, we talked about it, and that's how you kind of turn a program around. And what Coach Rainey's doing is you play the younger guys. You have your seniors. When you come in and you take over a program, you have your seniors that have been there. They have to learn your system. Now you have guys coming up that have been playing for 2, 3, 4 years in your system, on the field, getting that experience. And now they know how your offense runs. Every year they're gaining more and more experience. They're finding the lanes. And, I mean, we've talked about it so much and in depth with the way Coach Dara runs his offense and his defense. I mean, these guys are getting opportunities as young freshmen, and they're able to play in the same system over and over again. So that's consistency, and consistency is huge for building a program and kind of trying to turn around the culture.
So it'll be first and hold on, it won't be anything. It'll be 1st and 15. This is going to go against the Red Tornadoes. But while they walk off that false start penalty, I think one thing we want to talk about too, because we do it at the outset and every time we get a chance, but it can't be overstated the work that this offensive line does to really fuel that Red Tornado offense. So again, while you're not always able to get down into the trenches and say this block was great or that block was great, it's worth at least mentioning. Again, it's Delaney, it's Spears, it's Erb, it's Lamas, and Shimko as Diaz makes a first tackler miss and gets over the 50. And Lamas is down behind the play.
And again, this Red Tornado offense kind of just picking up where they've left off. Going back to putting the ball in the air, and just kind of dinking and dunking down the field. They're not trying to take big chunks every play, which is, it's the mark of a team that is confident in their passing game.
Los Lamas is 10-2. Take a minute to just remind everybody, next week we'll be back here at the Silver Bowl. We kind of alluded to it at the outset. That it's kind of a big game next week.
Yeah.
the Southern Columbia area Tigers will return to the Silver Bowl for the first time since the district playoff game last season. So you could understand if the Red Tornadoes wanted to take a peek into next week and see maybe what that might look like, but I think by nature of this 41-14 score here, Coach Dara and his staff did a great job of keeping these guys focused all week on the task at hand.
Absolutely, Jim, you're right. And just something I was pointing out to you before there, it looked like number 60, Jabari Kynes, checked in here to spell Lamas for the Red Tornadoes.
So it's 2nd and 5, and it's Blessing. And he'll have the first down out over the 40, down to about the 37.
And when he sees green in front of him, Jim, he hits that gear, and it's fast. I mean, he took that ball and had the first down within 3 steps, it seemed like.
Now we're going to get another timeout here for the Spartans. It looks like they may have made some changes on the defensive side of the ball. And now they're going to unmake those changes. So 10:41 remaining here, 41-14 Red Tornadoes. We'll see if we've got any updates on any scores anywhere else tonight, Dan. So the Red Tornadoes and the Spartans are 41-14. Just kidding, seeing if you were paying attention. Danville stretched their lead to 49-0 over Montoursville.
Okay.
North Schuylkill add another score, 35-6 versus Jim Thorpe. Southern up 40-7 on Central as Blessing will get to around the 34-yard line.
And the Red Tornadoes right back up on the ball quickly here.
And he'll flip it out to Diaz, and Diaz is going to have a little bit of room. And now, can he split the difference? He will, and it's touchdown Red Tornadoes, a 33-yard pass from Spears to Diaz. And it's 47-14 with 10:15 remaining.
And that was very quick there, Jim. Diaz, it didn't look like there was any room in front of Diaz, but you're right. Once he split those defenders, it was off to the races, and he knew it.
It's a good snap. It's a good hold. The kick is up, and it is just short. So it'll stay 47-14. Big Red. So, Dan, that's Spears' third touchdown pass of the night, which is the same number he had last week. And if my math is correct, that's 16 on the season. He's got, 3 games and a quarter to play.
Yeah.
In the regular season.
Those are pretty impressive numbers. And he just eclipsed 1,000 yards, I believe it was last week, if I'm correct. So he's still just pushing further and further up the yardage and touchdown mark.
Yeah, he did eclipse 1,000 yards last week. You were right on that.
And we're going to see another. We're going to see Blessing kick off again. I saw him over here on the sideline getting his boot on.
So we'll see how this one goes. Now, and it's funny because if you remember, so for seeing Blessing and Cricky the last 2 weeks, that is a line shot. It's a frozen rope that Bartlett took on a hop. He's going to get a pretty good return here.
Yeah.
Be taken down by Morganti somewhere around the 42. But if you think back, so we've seen Blessing and Cricky the last couple weeks, but against Bloomsburg, Shoppy had actually tied a record for 10 kickoffs.
Yeah, Yeah, you're right.
So he had all of them a few weeks back. But when there's that many, when you're scoring points like this offense is, you can spread them around a little bit.
Absolutely, you can.
I think we've got a few changes here for the Red Tornado defense.
Yeah, I see Kynes on the defensive line.
Wetzel to throw. And he's going to have Finnegan, but just out of his reach. It looks like we got 58, Joshua Blessing, in there defensively as well. And is that Shiganowski on the far side? Is that 76?
Yes, yes it is.
So I think that might be all. So the changes are along the defensive line for right now. Otherwise, it's.
And that's just that's the respect that Coach Dara has for this passing attack of the Spartans. You know, keeping the same defensive backfield out there.
Little rock and roll handoff to Bartlett, but nowhere to go. Good job by Kimzel and Lukoski cutting off any direction there. Actually, excuse me, on that far corner, I thought that was still Lukoski. It's not. It actually looks like it's. Is it Brown? Is it 27 or is that 20? Yeah, it's Keegan Brown. Oh no, it's Lukoski over there.
Yeah,
okay,
that's Lukoski.
But Brown is in there as a linebacker.
Oh yeah, he's.
I think we saw Blessing in there a lot.
Yeah, I think that's where Bailey normally is, and Bailey now at outside linebacker.
And they come after Wetzel, and he's going to roll to his right, and he's just going to unload one, and now it's going to be. So Kimzel makes a nice play and bats the ball down, but if you're Ben Miller, you're saying, hey, man, I had that one.
Right. Yeah, that's a conversation. You see they're having a conversation right now. Miller's saying, hey, nice play, but I was going to pick that one. And they're still talking about it a little bit now.
It reminds you of that, the Ricky Bobby conversation of that Ricky Bobby conversation where you have Kimzel and Miller having that little, yeah, but if you get it, then I can't get it.
Right, yeah.
You see what I mean? We can't both get it.
Right.
We'll get an illegal motion against the Spartans. Now, Coach Rainey had something to offer Fraley there.
Yeah.
Who also, Keegan Smith has been doing the punting, but he's got Fraley doing it. So let's see. It's just kind of a directional, I think.
Yeah.
But Kim's going to take it on a hop. And he'll get to about the 39-yard line. So 9:38 remaining. The Red Tornadoes lead 47-14. And we'll see some changes on offense as well. 16, Marshalik in as the signal caller. The lead back will be 21, Cooper Cricky. And what a couple weeks that young man has had.
Yeah. Yeah, you've also got Delaney in there. I think probably to spell Diaz in that wing spot or receiver, depending on what Coach Dara decides to go with. Morgani on the far side. Keegan Brown in at the fullback position.
Red Tornadoes having a little trouble there. It looks like they're missing a lineman. Because I think they still have their 5 offensive linemen.
Yes, they do.
Marshall will hand it to Cricky, and Cricky, as he's done the last couple weeks, is off to the races.
The one guy to beat. Oh, wow. That ball just bounced out of bounds.
Buddy. But it's going to be a huge gain all the way down to the 15. So that's going to be about 46 on the first touch of the night for Cooper Cricky, who came into tonight 23 carries for 196 yards and 3 touchdowns on the season.
Yeah, and most of that damage has been done in the last 2 weeks, Jim.
Yeah.
For Cricky.
There's a cool article today in the news item about Cooper and Max Cousins. In case you were wondering.
Okay.
Marshalik will look for Adams to be just wide of the target, 2nd and 10. Again, we talked about Spears. Marshalik had himself a week last week, too. 7 of 8, 74 yards and a touchdown.
He absolutely did. I mean, can't do much better than that.
Oh.
That one incompletion kept him from perfect.
And it'll be Karicki again. Nice tackle made by, it's like number 23, Chase Fowler. It's like number 51, Ryan Bush, is in there on the offensive line. I think initially it was the starting 5.
Yeah.
But I think we do have some changes in there now, so we'll try to call those out as we can. We'll see him in just a second here as Marshall rolls out, and he'll flip it out. A good grab by Delaney, all hands.
Really
and he
nice
stays
grab.
on his feet.
There's a flag thrown in the area, though.
Looks like while they sort this out, Shiganowski's on that offensive line. We talked about Kynes and Bush. Trying to see the other jersey numbers.
You got 56, Dylan Poe.
And Blessing.
Yeah.
Joshua Blessing, that is, excuse me. So personal foul, face mask against the Spartans.
So that'll be a half the distance.
My goodness, Delaney was even closer than I thought he was, if that's half the distance.
And you know, it could be my depth perception that's off, and I know that is a fact, that it's not great, but he looked like he was going to go out of bounds as soon as he caught that ball.
Right.
And tiptoed down the sideline for a huge gain.
The ball's about the 2-yard line. And Marshall's going to give it to Karicki, and Karicki's going to be dropped in the backfield, so nice job there by the Spartans. Again, it's Fowler.
Looked like
Fowler and Schroeder, so Chase and Chase.
Yeah.
C squared on the stop.
Yeah, Chase squared. That's 23 and 24.
I think they did that on purpose.
Yeah, I'd say so.
It's Karicki again, and he's in for a Red Tornado touchdown, 53-14. And so now that's, and this is where you want to plug into Jose.
Yeah.
That's 50 points 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah, those are pretty impressive offensive numbers. And you know, we talked about it's hard to you know, kind of drive home how impressive these numbers have been offensively after having the most successful offensive season that a Red Tornado team has ever had last year.
Right.
And these numbers are still very impressive.
A little high snap, but Adams knows long arms, yanks it down, and Shoppy drills it through, so it's 54-14.
And again, another impressive showing from the Red Tornado offense tonight. And now we'll see who they send out to kick this one off, because that's kind of been
right.
the fun here with the kickoff team. And you're right, we've got to see a lot of them, a lot of kickoffs so far. So and we'll see who. Blessing's got the boot on, so it's going to be Blessing again.
Okay.
And those low line drive kicks are successful as long as you can break it through that second line.
Yeah, I like those.
You're giving your kickoff team an opportunity to get down there and just kind of put a little bit more pressure on the return team. They're not as easy to field as those nice, soft, you know, end-over-end kicks when you get a line drive coming at you right in your chest.
8:07 remaining here at the Silver Bowl. Again, it's been a great night for football. It's a beautiful night. There's that liner. It's going to be taken, and this time Bartlett almost goes, excuse me, that's Knight. He almost goes down. He keeps his feet. He'll get over the 30. You got to enjoy the weather while you got it.
Yeah.
I think over the next week, I think when we come back here next Friday, it's potentially be a little bit colder than it is right now.
Yeah, we're gonna start seeing some true fall football weather here, getting deeper and deeper into October.
Yeah, let's see here, Dan. Let's reach into the old bag of tricks. So maybe not a good example. So last week when we played Southern, it was 57 degrees at game time. So not a whole lot different. It was about 65 today.
Yeah, it was fairly warm though. I mean, it's humid. you don't have a humidity index on that.
It's not the heat, it's the humidity.
Yeah,
is that what you're,
that's it.
Is that what you're pulling out in October?
Yeah, we talk
You
about
can't
it.
say that in
It's the air
October.
you can wear around here.
Fourth quarter, line out 50, Halifax 14. Third quarter, Hazleton 14, Crestwood 14. Fourth quarter, Tiffany 30, Tri-Valley 27.
So we'll see what goes on here. Again, trying to look at the Red Tornado sideline to see if there's any other, or excuse me, the Red Tornado huddle, see if there's any other numbers. I see 17 is Fesniak, 13 is Velasquez, 45 is Berezovsky, 14 is Noel, 26 is Dietz.
Yep.
Is that everybody, Dan?
I mean, you got a lot of them.
I think that was pretty cool. I think that was pretty. You don't always get that.
No. You got a
Nice.
good look at it right there.
Nice tackle made by Karicki on the far, or excuse me, by Keegan Brown on the far side of the field. But that's really what it was. That was breaking the huddle at everybody's backs.
Yeah, it's always nice.
So it'll be second and about 5 after a nice run on first down. This time will be number 10, Connor Anstadt, in for Wetzel at the quarterback position. He'll keep that as a kind of a sweep almost.
Yeah.
Off the right side. He'll have a first down for the Spartans.
Yep.
We approach 6.5 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Spartans, a little trouble with the snap, sneaks by Anstadt. He'll cover it up and be touched down by Noel. It's going to be back to the 31-yard line, so very quickly, it's going to be second and very long.
Yeah, big loss there on that one. A little mix-up there. So the Red Tornado defense, see if they can capitalize on it.
We're talking about last play brings up a second and 23 for Hughesville.
Spartans trying to get set up from their bunch set. And Anstadt's going to keep it, and just, again, it's that sweep that he's going to try to get the edge, but a nice job out there by Aiden Dietz to not let him get there.
And a really good job. I mean, it's a great tackle by Dietz. Good job moving laterally, but credit to the Red Tornado defense as a whole. The communication there. They saw that trip set, and we saw the kind of the first squad out there. They were shifting, and they were able to get their defensive line shifted towards that play, which helped get some extra bodies over there to defend that overload.
So no gain on that one, so it'll be 3rd and 22, and Anstadt to throw, and he'll have his man. It's like number 14, Trent Wetzel. Nice reception. Almost kept his feet as he was spun out of a tackle, but he will end up going down at the 35 or so. So
yeah,
4th and 20, they'll punt.
Yeah, Dietz and Berezovsky did a really good job there making that stop, and then you'll see, looks like Fesniak and Velasquez going back to fill the punt here.
Good high kick from Fraley. And Velasquez wisely just kind of let that one bounce by, let the Spartans down it at the 23-yard line.
Yeah, we'll see again this Red Tornado offense. I already see one change, number 18, Landon Adams, checking in there. 88, Draco Shellhammer. I'm trying to catch them as they're heading out there, like you did on the defensive side. I think those are the only changes that I see.
Velasquez is out there. Was he on offense last drive?
No, I think you're right. He wasn't. He's in the slot there.
Marshall take the snap and hand it to Karicki. And Kricky loses footing. Again, that's just another case. I think he's just too fast.
Yeah, his feet are moving too quick.
Ball will be out to the 30, gain of 7.
And now Dietz checks in to the backfield for Kricky. It might be the end of Kricky's night.
Dietz is going to be the thunder to Kricky's lightning with that kind of run as he drops his head.
Yeah, I think he got a first down.
Now there is a Spartan down on the field. Be tended to by the staff, but again, we talked about the Red Tornadoes will be back here at the Silver Bowl next week to face the still undefeated Southern Columbia area Tigers. That's what I wasn't pausing for effect, I was pausing for confirmation.
And the defending 2A state champions.
No doubt be a lot of discussion this week leading up to that. Certainly, again, it was the Red Tornadoes coming away victorious in the regular season versus the Spartans. Excuse me, versus the Tigers. And again, you see just great camera work.
Yeah.
Just WKMC TV continues to just elevate the bar of what it is a student-run TV studio can do. It's phenomenal. We appreciate their leaders, Mr. Sagaitis and Mr. Trefsker, and all they do. But my goodness, you just give these kids the reins, and it's phenomenal. We talk about it all the time. Dan and I just kind of show up here.
Yeah.
The students will be here early. They'll stay late. They travel. They're in the elements. And that's kind of, speaking of the elements, that's where it looks like that was number 74, Connor Tallman, for the Spartans, is being helped off the field. But speaking of the elements, that was the last time the Red Tornadoes and the Southern Columbia Tigers faced each other. That was, if you remember, if you were here early enough, there was a snow squall like I've never seen. We stood up here in the press box and couldn't see across the field.
Yeah, I mean, it was whiteout conditions at that point.
I remember huddling in the bathroom for a minute because there was some heat in there.
Yeah.
So it was certainly a game impacted by the elements. It'll be Dietz again, and he's going to be wrapped up around the ankles by 24, Schroeder, and taken up top by 23, Fowler. And that's, again, Chase & Chase.
Yes.
It's a pretty good law firm.
Yeah, it is.
Look, and they're both linebackers. I mean, come on, Coach. Like, Coach Rainey, you know you did this. There's a plan here.
Yeah, it has to be.
It'll be a handoff to Dietz, and now Dietz has some space, and he'll have a first down, and he's into Spartan territory.
Yeah, Dietz throws out a nice little stiff arm there at the end to finish that run off. So it's you talked about the thunder from Dietz, but we get to see the lightning from him as well, and a great block on the outside. I think that was Noel. Did a really good job getting out front.
Now it's Dietz again, down to the 44. 2:20 remaining here, 54-14 Red Tornadoes. And Dietz one more time. Oof, that was a loud shot.
Yeah, and he's going to be close to another first down.
They're going to mark him about a yard short.
Yeah, and on those ones where Dietz is kind of getting to the sideline, that's Noel, and it looked like that Keegan Brown flexed out there in the slot, doing a good job kind of clearing the way for Dietz to make something happen.
It's like Velasquez came to the sideline and Urbanavich went in. And it's Dietz again, he'll have the first down. And we're going to move the pile.
Yeah.
Down to the 35-yard line. Be stopped by number 25, Riddick Koch.
And it appears that Coach Dare is just letting Dietz eat out there. He's just going to keep feeding him.
And that time, Schroeder will say, okay, I've seen this one too many times.
Right. Yeah.
Knifes through and makes a nice tackle. Although I thought he had Dietz in the backfield, he didn't. Dietz still somehow gained 1.5 yards on that one.
He's dragging defenders along with him.
So we'll see now Marshall set to, he's content to let the play clock run down a little bit there. And you wanted to get it under 40 before you called that play, as now the Red Tornadoes don't have to snap it again. We'll see if they opt to again. Coach Dara has talked a lot about how important these snaps are for these young guys.
Oh, they're paramount getting these guys their opportunities.
And they will snap it one more time. It'll be Dietz, and he'll be dropped by Fowler that time. Chase Fowler of Chase and Associates on the Spartan defense. But that's going to be the end of the night here at the Silver Bowl. The Red Tornadoes will emerge victorious, keep their win streak alive, 54-14. And we can say it safely now, the Red Tornadoes will remain unbeaten against the Spartans, 11-0 since 1998, and only once have been held under 40 points.
Yeah.
Again, courtesy of Jose Gonzalo. So next week, you know, we kind of started to tee it up a little bit, but next week's the big one from a regular season standpoint. It's weeks 8 and week 10 with Shamokin.
Yeah.
But certainly within Class 2A in the district, the matchup against Southern is always high on the list of preseason kind of priorities, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody kind of puts a star next to that one because, I mean, over the last few years, I mean, it's been pretty consistent. Whatever happens in this game, week 8, you know, whenever it is we do play Southern Columbia, a lot of the times we also get to see Southern Columbia again, normally in the district championship game.
So we'll see. Wait here and see if we hear anything from Mr. Gonzalo. We certainly will at some point.
Yeah,
as we always do.
A lot of stats from the tee up again in these these high-scoring Red Tornado games. I mean, he's probably run out of ink in his pen
as of late
over the last few
so.
weeks. Yeah. So it's definitely something big for. But you know, we mentioned it before the half. Or after the half, you know, we got the interview with Coach Dara, and you know, he talked about some things that he wants to clean up. So there's as you mentioned, especially coming from a coaching standpoint, there's always things that can be worked on. But the way that your offense has performed over the last few weeks, and the way that your defense has performed as well over the last few weeks, I mean, you can't really ask for much more if you're on the Red Tornado coaching staff.
Well, another thing that we haven't really talked about this a whole lot this season.
Yeah.
And I think with good reason is, again, you're not trying to look ahead or deal with anything else. But tonight marks win number 895 in this program's storied history.
Yeah.
I think that we're within 5 of that 900. It's probably okay to start a little bit of a countdown,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
To try to keep tallying those up. But I think, Dan, based on your reaction, we did get what we were looking for from Mr. Gonzalo.
Yes, so for the Red Tornadoes, 40 rushing attempts for 321 yards, 16 of 20 passing for 180. So that's 501 yards of offense. So that's a pretty solid number there. 20 first downs and 54 points on the board. But on the other side, 28 carries for 76 yards for the Spartans, 19 of 40 passing. So between Wetzel and it was Angstad at the end, I believe. Yep. They've got 40 passing attempts, so they were not afraid to put the ball in the air, and 179 yards through the air. So they did have some success. That's something that Coach Dara is definitely going to want to shore up going through the remainder of the season. It's totaling 17 first downs. So you think about it. I mean, a lot of times the Spartans, they were able to extend drives on third downs because of that success that they had through the air. So can you just imagine, Jim, if the Red Tornadoes were kind of able to shut down that passing attack, the opportunities that they would have had to put some more points on the board, they could have scored 80. I mean, realistically, the Spartans retaining possession of the ball was the one thing that slowed down that Red Tornadoes offense at times.
And I think I'm just looking here because one thing again as we start to get into what's going to happen over the next couple weeks, I think as we said at the half, there's probably one guy that you want to hear from tonight more than any others, and that's Coach John Dara. And fortunately for us, we again have Alyssa Trefsker down on the sideline. So Alyssa, take us to Coach Dara.
I'm here with Coach Dara. Coach, how are you feeling about tonight's big win?
I thought it was a good team win. A lot of different guys contributed. We made a lot of good plays. Definitely got to clean some things up. We had too many self-inflicted wounds, but at the end of the day, we got a big win.
And, next week Southern, looking forward to it. How's the team going to prepare for such a big game?
Well, I think it's something we look forward to all year. It's something, we really prepare for in the offseason and in the summer. So now it's here. Our guys are excited, and we're really looking forward to next week.
All right, thank you. Back to you, Jimmy and Danny.
Thanks, Alyssa. It's a really cool thing that we're doing here. I hope we get to continue it. Phenomenal job by Alyssa and everybody here in the WKMC TV studio. Coach Dara, football guy.
Yeah.
54-14, didn't even sniff a smile.
Right.
Hadn't even crossed his mind. But that's a football guy for you. But again, as we said before, we keep these guys here late as it is, so why don't we go ahead and call it a night, Dan. Again, this has been a good one for the Red Tornadoes, 54-14 over the visiting Hughesville Spartans. Next week, we're back here at the Silver Bowl, as we've talked about ad nauseum at this point, for a regular season tilt versus the Southern Columbia area Tigers. So I'm Jim Lesko.
And I'm Dan Lesko.
And for Jose Gonzalo, this has been a WKMC TV broadcast sponsored by VFW Post 2110. Thanks for spending your night with us. We hope you come back next week.